Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Good evening.
Sorry for the late start there. My audio
There
level
we
sending the try was too low, and I had to restart my whole computer to fix it. It's
It's
looking like,
it's weird how often that seems to fix that problem.
yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, right? That it doesn't matter what happens. Like, something's going to go wrong, and there's going to be no real rhyme or reason behind it.
Yeah, but like Discord audio issues, just like sometimes like rebooting just seems to fix them for
Yes.
some reason. Like that doesn't make much. I mean, it makes sense for a lot of things to be fixed by rebooting, but that's to me that's not one of them that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. All right, I'm just recentering myself a little bit here. Just, I guess, recentering myself. Well, welcome. Hopefully, everybody is had a good weekend.
Yeah, a lot of people responded to your call for helping add time codes to
Yeah.
earlier streams. I've seen a lot of activity on that front in the comments.
Yeah,
So
thanks
thank
everybody
you
who's
everyone who's been helping us out with that.
yeah, it's really made a big difference in the stuff that I can make live. You know what's so stupid is that like I'm not even halfway done.
I
with it.
know.
They're not even half like almost I mean, I don't we've seen an incredible amount of time views, I think. Like YouTube is saying like, "Oh, you know, people are choosing your videos like more often than normal this week." And it's like I think it's like directly related to these, even though like there's not a lot of people leaving comments or anything on it. But I wonder if people are just putting them on in the background, or it's like, oh, you know, what is this? I didn't know these guys streamed, and I don't know. It's had a big effect on the entire channel. You know, like not like a ton of new subscribers, but like a decent amount.
Well, it'll probably even out like once we get some new videos out, regular
Exactly.
videos, and once all those are out, it'll probably, hopefully people it won't be put in people's faces more than they want to see it.
Exactly. Because I mean, if they're not even already halfway out, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
and
still
I
like
am, am quite well along in a script for RetroTink 4K preview video.
mm,
Um, so people
and
should check out Bob's video over on Retro RGB. He did a nice overview video. Um, our video is going to be more like there will be a little bit of overview stuff, but it's kind of going to go more in deep on cool stuff you can do with the HDMI input. Because I didn't want to just like cover all the points as if it was a review, because it's not a review, because it's still very much beta firmware, right?
mm,
So, and the thing's not out yet. So,
yeah.
I was like, well, what's something cool I can do with this? So
um,
that's so I yeah, I'm having fun with it.
and you know, I'm like well into my tour video. Like the hardest part, I think, is done, and it's just like I'm going through each thing and saying like, hey, you know, like look at this thing, and then editing it and shooting it and editing it. And occasionally like doing different like on camera bits. It's been kind of fun. I mean, I'm not saying it's kind of fun. It's been really fun to make. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not going to be out like this week, it's going to be out by like next Monday. So
Oh, so
it's
it's definitely pretty far along then.
yes, yeah. I'm pretty like I feel pretty good about it, and like I'm just going to take time to like add other stuff because there's just like a lot of stuff going on. And I say in the video, like, you know, I when I first started working on this video, I wanted to see if I could just like box each section of the space into its own piece, but it's so like intertwined that it's just kind of impossible to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's going to be. I hope people like it. You know, it's
Oh, I mean, people have been asking for so long. There's no way they aren't gonna like it.
yeah. I mean, it's been funny because you know, as we're going back to these like live streams, there's people like asking about like years ago, and it's embarrassing, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, it's finally gonna happen, and and I'll do mine. It might be my possibly my first video after Analog Frontiers Part 4. Who knows? Or again, I'm still pondering splitting mine into two different videos because I think it could make sense to do that.
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see.
I think you should do them both as one and just be like one big video, because
We'll
it
see.
is
We'll see.
what I think is kind of fun about this video though, and I'm not sure if it's like if anybody's gonna really care, but I kind of do like a recap of like the different game setups I've had like leading to this.
Mm.
So I like talk about like when I lived in New York and like what I like played games on in there, and then moving to like that, like that rental house, and I just think it's kind of neat because there's a lot of like photos and behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, is that why you were digging up a bunch of old
Yeah,
photos
yeah,
this
yeah.
week?
Like all these
Oh,
old
I was
photos and stuff.
wondering why you were so into that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fun. You see like like old like cell phone footage of like when I moved, or just like this like very early in pre channel. So it's kind of neat. So that said, we're gonna be playing some random games on the retro G.E.M. PS2 PS2 digital, if you prefer.
Now, I don't have one
Right.
yet, and so the most of my knowledge of like how this is and how it works is mostly informed by Epos Vox's video. He did a
Yeah.
really good overview of it. Do you think you're framed up right here? Because I do see some stuff
Some stuff is
cut off.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, this isn't a good screen to size it to.
Yeah. Just
Since it's black borders. If you got on, can you get to a screen that will get to a screen that has like a background?
I also want to say, in addition to this, I'm
OPL.
going to be using a DualShock 4 when I'm using that new 8-bit DOE retro receiver with it.
Oh.
So I just want to see how it works. Apparently, it does not support pressure sensitive buttons.
Oh, no Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, I mean just the Brook adapter I have has that. So also, I'm only gonna be able to play games using OPL because I put a new laser in this system, and it works fine. It's just that some games, like the first FMV in it, is like skipping, so I gotta kind of recalibrate it a little bit. So, like I guess if I need to use a disc, I can. But I tried SSX3 earlier, and just like the opening FMV was skipping.
Yeah, well, you said this was previously not working with CD games. Like you put in Gradius V, I think.
Right.
And you said it wasn't.
Oh, Gradius V was playing fine. I mean,
now
before
that
I
you're on
changed
screen,
it,
it's got like a gray background. Maybe you can resize to make sure nothing's cut off. You can probably see a little more clearly how you should size this, so we don't.
Yeah. Well, now you can kind of see. I mean, it's like looking like it's still kind of cutting off.
I mean, at some point, show us the menu.
Yeah. I'll get into that in just a second. I was just resizing a little bit. So I guess we do, like we need to kind of address like the situation a little bit, but it's like not going to be,
Well, I mean, obviously, I mean the time of this device coming out is kind of coming. I mean, needless to say, Pixel FX has had some difficult PR, front facing PR.
Yeah.
It
sucks because we're just like excited for both. The Retro Tank 4K, the Morph, like we've been like excited for the Morph
all
for
these
years.
mods,
like and the PS2 digital for years, and it was kind of deflating at first to see like the situations surrounding all of this like happen just as these like all these like awesome devices were kind of getting close to the finish line. and it's
just kind of a
something
lot
that we should all
of
be like celebrating and excited about. It just kind of like puts a damper on the whole thing. I mean,
just unnecessary swipes and unhealthy competitiveness, perhaps. But
yeah, because I mean, for especially,
I haven't seen. I mean, not that I'm paying attention, but I haven't seen anything about that arise in like the past couple of weeks, at least. So maybe the people behind those issues are, just
working through it or figuring something out.
Just, I mean, obviously, it's not like I'm one of the people who's devices and business practices are being scrutinized or anything, but like from my point of view, like I mean, if people can just walk away from it and not bring it up again, that'd be great.
Yes, and
just let's just move on and make cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we should celebrate that we have these like kind of revolutionary devices
that everyone's going to get
to, like there's something for everybody, in terms of like, like what, Pixel Effects is doing with their, their upgrades, like their digital upgrades.
Yeah, obviously you have the shiny edition here.
Yeah. I mean, that is for them to decide to do, like whether or not we agree with it. I personally think that they would have sold just as much, just like having it be a full priced, like no upgrades, but I can understand why they might want to do that.
Well, and especially because, I mean, I think part of the idea behind that, and they've just not done a wonderful job of communicating it, I think, but they want people to use the more basic version with the morph, right? And you can do the same thing with the RetroTink as well. I mean, that's one of the coolest things that I've enjoyed doing with the RetroTink 4K prototype so far, right? In fact, I just beat today, one of my beat pledges, Near Automata, and I think the next one of my beat pledges for the year I'm going to start is going to be Lunar. And nice. I'm planning to play that through the X Station on the PS1 digital through the RetroTink 4K. Mm-hmm. It's going to be awesome.
And that's like that's the most frustrating thing is like all this stuff is going to just like work so good together that like that's the kind of thing that makes it all so exciting is that like these different groups of people are making different things that all work together to create something like beyond like so far beyond what we could have ever imagined even 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean 2 years ago was, when the 5X came out and we thought 4K was a lot further off.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. It's awesome. And I am interested in like how would the raw just unscaled output from this work with the RetroTink 4K or the morph, because I mean, and I think that is what they were thinking when they did this whole shiny edition thing. I think they were thinking like well, if someone wants to like buy into their whole ecosystem with like the Infinity Switch and the morph and all that, or if they have another scaler like the RetroTink 4K, then they don't need this more advanced software. And like, apparently your volume needs to be.
I've already put it up. I put it up a little bit. We'll see if that helps.
I mean, DRM type stuff, never really goes down well in the retro community, and I don't know if that's really how they were thinking of it when they implemented it. But at the same time, I mean, it's not good to speculate on, someone else's, business decisions because you never, and that's actually a theme I want to hit on in Retro Analog Frontiers Part 4. That's something that I've always been planning to hit on is like, about all the people are like, oh, why don't you just make more of this? Or why does this cost so much and that cost so much? It's like, you don't have the inside view on why it needs to cost this much, or even if you've worked with these chips before, you don't understand what money decisions, what business decisions, warehousing and sourcing parts and things that you might not see um that influence those decisions. And you've seen that for years in the retro scene.
Yeah.
And the shiny stuff, it's not communicated super well. But I mean, from my perspective, I guess I do see it as being like, you buy a computer and you buy software for it.
Yeah,
And
you buy like Windows Home, and you can't have more than 16 gigs of RAM, and you got to upgrade to Professional to add more
yeah,
RAM than that.
I mean, which is stupid. I mean, and of course,
it's really
that's
stupid.
obviously a different
Right.
scale of company that
And-
we're talking about there. But I mean, my guess is the thing that necessitated this is they probably wanted to be fair about the price of the hardware, but the money they would be making selling just the hardware may have not justified the software side, all the costs of the software side.
I think that's like a big thing too.
That's just my guess, and I shouldn't be speculating like
right.
that.
Right. I think a big thing also is that they are probably feeling a lot more pressure because Pixel FX is 3 people that that would like to like make some money on
Make
this
a living.
situation. What's that?
They need to make a living.
Yeah. So I think that comes into it. And it's like, we can sell it for this, and we can probably sell like a bunch at this price, and then people want to upgrade, can upgrade, and like it gets more out the door and into people's homes, and then like people can upgrade if they want to, if they feel like the need for it. But
see, I'm really interested in just like Dreamcast, GameCube. I've got DC Digital. I've got Wii Dual. I don't need to upgrade.
right.
Like they output 480p, but I can get the same. Like if I had a more advanced version of those mods, I don't need it because the results are going to be exactly the same after I've passed it through a 4K scaler anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the nice thing. I mean, that's a big point I'm going to hit on the Retrode 4K video that I'm working on is, did you buy an AVS or did you buy an NT Mini Noir? It doesn't matter because you can make both look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing, right? Like as long as whatever device or mod you're already using provides a good, low lag gameplay experience that you're happy with, and as long as the scaling isn't like borked out of the box, like you can make all these things look the same.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's really cool. But anyway, why don't you either get into a game and show us more settings, or
the menus are fairly similar to like what we've seen.
It looks the same as the N64 digital, which we did a video on.
Yeah, I mean, you got your scaler.
Someone asked in our Discord the other day, like, why was there no PS1 digital video? And it's regrettable. I think that there was no PS1 digital video. There should have been. The reason there wasn't, though, was because we thought that motion adaptive deinterlacing was going to come relatively soon.
Yeah.
And I don't think because I don't think that was even available when the N64 digital launched. But I think it was available like maybe just a few weeks later or a couple of months later or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the only reason there wasn't. And then just like by the time that was out, we had just done the N64 digital video, which, the features are so similar and just, there should have been, but it's going to play a part in other videos. I've wanted to do a video, honestly, that's just like,
well,
playing PS1 in 2023 or 2024, whenever we get around to it. Because that way you can look at MemCard Pro, the new wireless controllers, X-Station, PS1 digital, all that kind of stuff, or G.E.M.
Well, the interesting thing about this is that, like it has all that PS1 functionality built into it as well for PS1 games. So it, obviously, I mean, in a video for this, we can probably cover PS1 digital as well. Like, in terms of comparing the two, like they're going to be exactly the same because it's like,
Yeah.
so I mean, we got like different, zoom factors, under scaler. Let me know if if you have any like things you want to say about it.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Start Select had a €2 super chat. Thank you. Saying, does anyone know what the G.E.M stands for? I'm sure they've said so, but I don't remember. General something mod.
Yeah, I don't think that they said it. It's just like
Did
kind
they
of an
not say what
internal
it stands
thing,
for?
which I think is maybe confusing for people.
I don't know if this is a branding flaw or if this is just where my mind goes, but every time you think of it, do you think of the G.E.M's sound driver for Genesis?
No.
I think of it every time. That's not great.
Yeah.
If you don't think of it though, then it must be okay because you're the one that thinks about
Yeah.
that
I mean,
kind of
I
stuff
don't.
more than I do.
I think more like hidden gem, I guess.
Start Select. I saw something. I saw you say something. I can't scroll back up far enough to find it, but I saw you say something before the chat started that I tried to make a mental note of to comment on or expound on, and I can't remember what it was. But you said something in the pre-stream that caught my eye, and I can't remember what it was. But I was going to say something about it.
Well, let me go through the rest of this so I can like start playing the game here a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, so you got your zoom factor, aspect ratio.
And now this can do 1440p now, right? The G.E.M can do 1440p.
Yes, but I'm not going to be able to use it because the HDTV that I'm playing on right now, I cannot.
It doesn't. Yeah. So, but you are streaming in 1440p just because you want to experiment, but you're not using 1440p.
Correct. Someone would I watched an Epos Fox video this week that said that if you stream in 1440p, like using H.265 through their new like RTMPS server or whatever, like the video is like a lot higher quality. So
can you do NVIDIA encoding with H.265 as well?
Yeah, the MVenc.
Okay, well then, yeah, I want to try that.
You might be able to even do it with yours, like the 1080.
Well, yeah, I want to try that.
So, I mean, if you use the other ones, I mean, you basically know what to get from it, from this. This is like kind of the kicker, though, because the big thing with this is going to be like, obviously, like motion adaptive interpolation.
Yeah.
For deinterlace, or I mean, motion adaptive deinterlacing. And, I think you could have the best deinterlacer in the world. And there's some games that's going to look like crap no matter what. And like something like Gradius V or Contra Shattered Soldier, like that rapid flashing is just like, it doesn't matter. It could be like industrial grade hardware probably. And they have like, it probably would still like look kind of crappy. And the thing is, there's just so much here that is, 480i only. And that's where I think that people, might be wondering if this is going to be worth it or not, because like as you're going to see, like there's a lot of crap that pops up from that deinterlacing, no matter what, because it's just like
and
so
the fact of the matter is,
games.
I mean, when the Retrode 5X, was the first like scaler to introduce lag-free motion adaptive deinterlacing. And it was different from motion adaptive deinterlacing I'd seen before, and I think that's because of the lag-free method. I just think the way that it accumulates information about how, prior frames and how to blend them and stuff is a little different from like a TV deinterlacer.
Right.
Not that TV deinterlacers do anything perfect either, but I think he might be working on some other deinterlacing methods, possibly. He's been teasing stuff in the Discord I've seen, He's also working with the guy from Blur Busters,
Right.
who teased that he's worked with companies that used like Feroja chips in the past, which is like those are like the chips that were like on the old Hazard City website.
Yeah.
A lot of the devices that he reviewed were like all in the early 2000s and stuff. Were using like Feroja chips.
Yeah.
And so I'm under the impression that maybe he's looking at some other methods, although I suspect they would have more lag. I know there's also something about I forget exactly which devices. I know there's something also about like, especially with Bob, like you can change like the Bob offset. I forget if that's a
Yeah, I mean,
if
so you
that's a
can see I
Pixel
can switch
FX
over
thing
to.
or if that's a RetroTink thing because I've not messed with that. And I wonder if something like that could. But of course, also with deinterlacing, I think if you maybe do some vertical or horizontal interpolation or something, that is something that I've actually tested hardly at all. That
Yeah.
very tiny bit
So I
of
wonder.
480i from the Carby is like all of the 480i testing I've done on, well, most of the 480i testing I've done on the RetroTink 4K so far. I'm sure a lot of people are really curious, like because I feel like PS2. I've long said PS2 is like the system that benefits from CRTs the most,
Mm-hmm.
and I really want to see what it could be like to replicate that look with CRT filters and stuff like that. And I don't think you're especially at 1080p that you're outputting now, you're not quite going to be able to get that. But I'm really curious how close I could get with 4K.
Yeah. So, it's interesting because looking at the Bob the interlacing, I feel like the Bob the interlacing, and I don't know if it has something to do with the interpolation overall. Like I just feel like it doesn't look nearly as crisp as it looked like on the OSSC. The OSSC had I felt like the interlacing looked amazing, or like the Bob the interlacing, and
I
but
remember it
maybe I
looked
just like don't remember
or
accurately.
maybe or I mean, or, and for one, you're playing on a TV that's probably going to retain that flicker, aren't you?
Yeah, but I
If you
mean,
have Bob on,
but
so yeah,
even if
you
you
don't
like
want
look at
Bob on.
Bob, like I feel like
It
that.
looked really, it's looking really bad on the stream too. The Bob is um, because it's like skipping a frame every now and then,
Right,
just
right.
because of the reality
Like maybe
of
later on I could do like an
stream.
A/B test with it because I could easily do that.
Yeah, but I think you should stream with motion adaptive. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what people want.
absolutely, absolutely. And it does. Yes, it goes up to 1440p, as you see here. Advanced video. So the per input output resolution scaler, I think that just bases on like what it's receiving. So it scales it like differently.
Right, because PS2 games run at a huge range of horizontal
Right.
resolutions and can even change per game. For example, the FMVs might run at a different aspect ratio than the gameplay, or a menu might run it. But that shouldn't cause any like sync issues, but like that would cause issues if you were trying to make like a pixel perfect Firebrand X style
Right.
profile or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, that's not going to work so well on PS2, especially games that might change resolution mid game or something like that.
Yeah. I'm not
Fenris
gonna
Wolf
get into
Richard
doing
says the
like
only
the.
downside with motion adaptive is games like Contra Shattered Soldier might look wonky in spots, and that is a very good test game because
Yeah.
it's like high frame rate,
And that's why I
has a
mean
lot
I can start with that. If
has
you.
a lot of flickering elements.
I mean I kind of want to start with
Even
Gradius V,
the PS3
which has
won't
that.
deinterlace that quite properly unless you're playing the PS2 classic download version. That one seems to actually run natively at 480p. And it won't have those deinterlacing issues. But even the PS3, it'll have deinterlacing issues in that game. It's a very good game for testing for that kind of stuff. But it doesn't matter how good that wouldn't be a slight at anyone's deinterlacing technique. That's just always going to happen with Contra Shattered Soldier. I don't think you can avoid it.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna play some Gradius V. This is what I was thinking about just doing the whole stream it with tonight, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. I see Sebastian say, I've heard that you can disable the flicker filter in some PS2 games if you enable NTSC and GSN within
Oh, okay.
OPL. So when you say disable the flicker filter, I mean, normally most PS2 games don't have a flicker filter. And the ones that do, it actually can look really ugly. Like the one I always think of is Xenosaga Episode 3. That's a really good looking game, but when you look at it really up close, it sort of looks weird when you're scaling it because it's got this like flicker filter or some sort of pseudo anti-aliasing or something on it that just doesn't work that well, especially when you're trying to scale it. So it's not a good game to use for comparisons. I've loaded it up a bunch of times over the years of doing MLiG, and I'm always like, yeah, this has that flicker filter, and it always looks bad that way.
Yeah, I'm just turning. Let me turn on the volume here. Too much volume. Let me know if I made it too quiet.
Just Winston is okay. Says actually most of them that aren't field rendered do have a flicker filter. It's just not an option to make. Okay, so yeah, I guess that would explain the difference between like the early dev kit PS2 games and games like, for example, I think I want to say like Tekken Tag and Dead or Alive 2. The Japanese versions have extremely flickery field rendered graphics, and the US versions look a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
And you know, because they were literally only rendering like 240 lines. They were rendering one field at a time, and I don't understand the magic of how it blends together with the US versions or later field rendered games that don't look so aliased. I don't really know how they do it, but I guess when I say flicker filter, I'm talking more like what they do on like Xbox and GameCube, where they look so soft in a way that is possibly inadvisable. I feel, this is just my opinion, but I feel that the video output of PS2, at least the interlaced output of PS2 has aged better than the interlaced output of GameCube and Xbox. People were complaining about how like stair-steppy it looked at the time, but like
but I mean,
honestly,
like in this output, you're gonna see like I've seen people
so
saying,
good on us here.
Like the Jaggies, like that's just I just don't think it's, you can't fix it. And just sitting here, like looking at the CRT, like it looks gorgeous on the CRT, and like I just don't think that it's possible.
I mean, it looks good on the stream, I think. For what?
Yeah, but I mean,
but
it is like a means to an end, really. Like what do you got to do to,
I mean, that's the reality of PS2, and that's why on the that's why on the PS2 RGB episode I made it such a big deal in the beginning to like embrace the realities of 480i, embrace the realities of what this system is.
Yeah.
And
that's that's one of the things why I found myself just like gravitating more towards Bob the Interlace, because I just feel like it's a better, like more accurate representation of what 480i actually looks like.
Right.
And
there's
like
also
you're seeing like what that looks like, if you're just like looking at a CRT, like it's relatively close to like what you can expect from it.
Phoenix Ignition says PS2 with a mask filter looks 100% better, and that is exactly what I've been wanting to test on the RetroTink 4K. In fact, I've actually got my RetroTink 4K script open right now, and I am going to make a note right now that I need to test and write a little bit about 480i, because even though I want mostly focus on the HDMI stuff, I do feel that is at least, I have a small section that's going to talk about analog. Whoa, big thunder.
Big thunder. I heard that.
Yeah, I got Sandy out. What was that? Sandy?
Does anybody out there feel like this might be one of the best games on the system? Does anybody feel like this is the best game in the entire Gradius series? Like, I'd like to hear. Do hardcore Gradius fans feel like this is the best, like one of the best games of the series?
Look at the shoot. Yeah. See? Corey's playing Gradius V.
She's like, oh yeah, finally! I've been waiting for this.
Oh, Corey's playing Gradius V. Oh, look at that. Wow.
You know, I initially beat this game on very easy years ago, and it took
me
something
you did
like
when you did a video.
Yeah. It took me something like 15 hours. So I've like when I boot it up every once in a while, I've like bumped it up to easy, not super easy mode. I'm like a big sucker for time travel stuff, you know, like in games, and that's like
yeah.
I love, like, I mean, I told you, like, you know, do you know about the time travel stuff in this game?
Yes.
I mean, I just love it. It's like so simple, but really cool at the same time.
Wow, Good Vibe Collecting said, I think I put more hours into Gradius 5 than any other PS2 game. Phoenix Ignition said, she's our therapy dog.
Does the game audio sound good? Let me know if it sounds good. There must be some mistake. Or mistake. I just like love this music here that kicks in. And you know, it's like, it's when you beat the game and you're the other ship, it's like, if you're into this kind of thing, it's like chill inducing because the music is so good with it too.
Eric Clark says, I recently bought Sylpheed for PS2. Was that a Working Designs game?
Yeah.
I always forget that's the thing. Isn't there also like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's an RP. Isn't there like a Sylpheed RPG or something on Xbox 360?
Yeah, I don't. Is it an RPG? It looks like it could be an RPG, but I don't think it is. I think
like
it's
the cover makes me think it's an RPG. Maybe
yes.
It's not.
But Sylpheed is spelled with like a Y instead of an I.
Here, let me look this up. Project Sylpheed.
Yeah.
There you go. Is a space simulation game for Xbox 360, according to Wikipedia. I don't know what space simulation. That doesn't sound like a shmup to me.
I'll have to play some.
But like that's a game that's always caught my eye in the game stores because the cover looks like an RPG.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh. I want RPGs. I want time to play more RPGs. That hasn't happened this year. I really got over Zelda. Like, I was like trying so hard with my beat pledges to like not go overkill with the RPGs, and I thought maybe I had enough gimmies in there that weren't RPGs, and I still think I picked too many RPGs.
Yeah. I've been playing Police Knots.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty good. It's, you know, it sure is a Kojima game. I mean, it's just details that is doesn't matter. You know, that's what I like about him. Is it's just like he just like explains.
Yeah.
Like how, like let me explain how this car works. That just like shows up for a split second.
Yeah. And like, when you see that, like, can you like not help but read it in either Snake or Colonel Campbell's voice?
No.
Like, do you hear that in your head? I would totally hear it in my head while I was playing.
I mean, strangely, like I almost kind of hear the police chief or the junker chief's voice in Snatcher. Benson Cunningham's voice.
Oh, I forgot
weirdly,
that.
I don't know why.
Is there any voice in Police Knots? I mean, or is it?
Oh yeah,
just
well, I mean,
Japanese?
it's all in Japanese. It's not translated or anything. But yeah, I mean, it is a Kojima game like through and through.
You know, I mean, I was definitely thinking about when I was like finishing Nier Automata, which, by the way, I have tended to say automata because I assume it's like based on like automaton, which I think is how you say that word. But there, at the very end of the game, like after the credits, there's a voice clip that actually says, from one of the pods, it says automata. But I have seen people say that's wrong. In fact, I saw people in some previous chat say props to Try for saying automata right. So, I don't know. People are probably split on how to say that. Kai
weirdly,
says, in Japanese, it's automata.
Weirdly, you know, like my Police Knots time has been limited here and there because on a whim, based on like what I had heard about it and the fact that it was like it's like pretty cheap, bought that Vampire Survivors game on the Switch.
Oh, I mean, I hate how it looks.
I mean, it is like it's a real ugly game.
Yeah,
it is, but it is totally fun and just like the way that it makes you feel like you constantly feel like you're getting something good.
Huh.
And
I mean,
like,
it is a roguelite,
like a silly amount of time into it. Just
or roguelite or whatever you call it, right? Like
it feels
like I don't know. Like I hate how it looks. I mean, I know that's, you know, not graphics don't matter and all that, but like I hate how it looks so much that you know, I think Drum has it on Steam. You know, maybe I can try it with him sometime. But like it, like just like I don't like games that just like abuse pixel art in that way and just clutter the screen with just a bazillion things to look at. Like it's too much. It's too much to me.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, but it's still real fun. And I'm wondering, like,
I wonder if it would work downscaled on the Retrode 4K. That's what I'm always thinking about now.
I don't know. I mean, everything's already real small, and I can't.
Yeah, and does it zoom at all? Does it like zoom in and out at all?
It does not move.
Okay, so it's a set zoom level. So I don't know. It probably wouldn't work very well though, because like honestly, anything like higher res than like 480p doesn't look that good with scan lines, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're trying to downscale something like 360p, some games actually design their pixel art for 360p or 240p or whatever. You know, those look great with scan lines.
See,
but
right there when I die, let me kill myself again here. You'll see like there ain't no fixing that. I don't think that's possibly fixed. You know, you're like, I think that it's just
that
the rate at which it is flashing.
Yeah, there's just not enough information.
Yeah, it is just
no DNR laser's going to fix.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. It's like it does not matter.
Bob is the only thing that's going to treat that as if it came from the source.
Yeah, the only way it's going to look like honestly going to look good is on a CRT.
Yeah,
that's just
that's reality.
That's the unfortunate reality.
Yeah. Unless like an AI deinterlacing ever gets developed. But what are the chances of that when there's no new interlaced AI content to justify training AI on? You know?
I love this game. Like it hits you with like a boss rush at the second level. I mean, it's like
that's treasure games
a
are
treasure thing to
nothing
do.
but modules. There was a notification that the legendary K4 has been a member for 7 months in a row.
Heck yeah!
Thank you. Saying just got home from Retro World Expo in Connecticut.
Oh
Had a
yeah.
blast and got some pickups on the cheap. Also got to meet Bob from Retro RGB. Super nice guy. Well, sorry that it was the first time in a while that we haven't been to Retro World.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been like maybe all of them up to this point, or at least all but the first one, I think. All right, I just need to kill myself so I can save this.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, we've been to almost all of them for sure. It was cool. Oh, I see Cloud FF7 2000 was there too. And by the way, Cloud, I saw before the stream you asked something about if anyone has a PC Engine interface unit. I have one with a Voltar RGB amp in it. I don't know what your ponderance about it was.
I'm just saving my game here.
Do you know if the Retro G.E.M will de-interlace 1080i content?
You want me to try GT?
I guess. I mean, GT doesn't natively render it 1080i. I don't think it's particularly high res. I need to do more tests with it, but actually doing 1080i, with GSM, I found interesting results with that if the game has a native 16:9 mode. I was like, oh, this actually looks better than I would have expected. Looked better than forcing 480p to me in a lot of games.
Is there a button code to hold down in GT4 to enable 1080i?
I mean, most of the time, is it X and triangle, or is it triangle and square? I don't think that's the case in GT though. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not overly familiar with Gran Turismo, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
Cloud FF7, my PC Engine interface unit. I mean, it came with the official power supply. That's what I've been using. Right. So I'm not sure. I have not. Yeah, I've never run. I want to say one of the multi-console adapter things, I think, had like a breakout, for a PC Engine specific breakout.
Because I'm gonna turn down the audio in this game since there's like licensed music.
I don't have the details for you, unfortunately. I've seen GameStack said Bob, the interlacing looks really bad on PS2. I don't know how, but the PS2 seems to even more jittery in its interlacing than other consoles. I've seen you comment on that before too, Joe. I think what you're saying is like sometimes, like it almost seems like it just skips a field every now and then. I know what you mean, like especially if there's like loading going on or something like that. Like during normal gameplay, I think the interlacing tends to be pretty consistent. I mean, I like how interlacing looks on a CRT with PS2. I really love it. Like I like how interlacing looks out of it more than GameCube or Xbox. I don't know. It's just me.
It's interesting. I've been using that 8BitDo receiver, and I've like had a lot of problems with it. It makes it so that the Mem Card Pro like doesn't work right. And then I just found that so I have like a multi-memory card. It's like an officially licensed one. It's like a 4-bank memory card. It's like the Katana or something like that. But it has a button on it, and you like switch it, and it's like it's Magic Gate enabled and everything. So it's like it's close to official, like from as close to first party as possible. But I just switched memory cards using that, and it did. The controller stopped working, so I just switched back over to the Brook.
There was a 750 Canadian from Dennis Bolianos.
Bolaños.
I'm sure I butchered that in some fashion. But thank you very much. Saying, have you ever thought about making a video about Techno Parrot? You know, I only just learned about Techno Parrot
Yeah, we were
like just a few weeks ago, and it seems awesome. So for people who don't know, Techno Parrot is like this thing where you can just like natively install more modern arcade games on your computer. Like they run natively on your computer because modern arcade games are just PCs.
So we're looking at. Whoops. Okay.
And that sounds incredible. I've not tried it. I was talking to John Linneman about, but you know, I saw some people saying like, maybe you shouldn't do like a video on Techno Parrot because the difference with, you know, oh, is this what we got on 1080i?
Yeah, so it does not work with it. I wonder if that's going to be, if it could be possibly added later.
I don't know. Or maybe, what if it only does like, what if it turns into 540p? It just like samples every other line or something. I wonder if that might be possible if 1080i is too much bandwidth. It's understandable. I mean, there's not a lot of reason to use 1080i on PS2 anyway.
So that's weird. Like, so I set it to this. Oh, it does it only in races. That's right. I was like, why is it still 480i on the TV? But you gotta.
Oh race. Yeah, I forgot that. That's only... really weird. Kai says they said they're going to add 1080i pass through in a later update, which that would work great with the RetroTink then.
Yeah, and probably
because you can I've actually not tested that, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be able to interlace 1080i. I don't know if that's a pledged feature on the Morph or not. Oh, it's pronounced K. Okay, sorry. Apologies.
I'll do some racing. We'll race to New York. What kind of cars we got here?
There was. Hang on a second.
Oh, I don't want to use this. I just did. Oh well.
Okay, yeah. There was a 499 from Alex Gavin. Thank you. Saying, evening, gents. I just joined. So the consensus I'm hearing here is that I shouldn't throw away my PS2 component CRT setup. I mean, I would say PS2 is like the most compelling reason to keep a CRT around.
Yeah.
But that said, I mean, you've not, thoroughly tried everything you can do on this mod yet, and you've not, I assume, tried that much with like some of the CRT effects, and likewise with me and the RetroTink 4K, I've not done that much 480i testing on it. So I would not say yet that that you can't get there. You can't get to what PS2 on a CRT is like. But I haven't gotten that far in my RetroTink testing. I don't think Corey's got quite there on his PS2 digital testing. Henry Clark says pure digital signal will likely look at least somewhat better. I'm waiting to see that comparison to find out if it's worth it. Go watch Epos Vox's video. He did a really good video on the PS2 digital, and he does have like analog versus HDMI comparisons, and he he was commenting how he always felt like there was kind of like a color shift on the analog output of PS2 that always bothered him. Like he felt like the white balance was not pure. And looking at his comparisons, it is pretty striking, I will say. Seeing that the just those pure RGB colors, digital RGB colors. It really does look good. Oh, Henry Clark saying analog in Ratchet 5X versus 4K. Oh, is that what you were asking about? I was talking about I was talking about just like the quality of the colors from analog versus digital.
Yeah. I mean, like, this looks great. 480p looks amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, as you would expect it to.
Yeah. I mean, that's no surprise.
Don't expect me to be able to really play this. I'm more of an outrun guy, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot play GT either. There was also relevant to your T-shirt today.
Oh, yeah.
A $10 super chat from Seabass Nap.
Oh.
Thank you. Saying, so how was the Miami match, Corey? Also, when's your flight to Atlanta Wednesday so you can witness your Skyline Chili slurping team get steamrolled by Atlanta United? That is not how any soccer announcer would say
Slurp?
that, I'm sure.
Slurping.
Your Skyline Chili slurping team.
Everyone's real excited about the game yesterday. I did not follow up. I saw a lot of people wearing T-shirts today, so I assume that they won last night. We were over at some friend's house last night, and I passed out like as soon as I got home. So I assume that they won though.
You know, I gotta be honest. I have
like
so
realistic
little
traction. What can I say? I mean, I'm not gonna sit here pretend like I'm a GT pro.
Well, see, this is kind of what I was talking about the other week, right? Like, I want to play a game where it just feels like how real driving feels on city streets, and I feel like as realistic as GT is supposed to be. Then why does it not feel like driving in real life? Even if you're like not trying to race, like why does it not feel like that to me?
Maybe you just haven't used like a real wheel and gas pedal setup. I bet it would probably feel real close if you're. I mean,
I'm skeptical.
But I mean, like that's. I think that people that like know a lot about this stuff probably would say that it probably feels pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, you're just
I'd
the guy
like
drives
to
around
try it,
like
but...
a Subaru hatchback, like. But I mean, I think the people that are driving like all these cars like would probably say like, oh yeah. I mean, this is like what if it was, like what if you could drive your exact car and you're like, oh my god, this is like exactly how my car feels. It's like tuned to the exact specs.
We got Dragon Quarter popping in to ask how Dragon Quarter looks on this mod from a user actually named Dragon Quarter.
We can do it. You want me to?
We can do it. I mean, you've got a save in Dragon Quarter.
I do. I got one of them saves.
Last one says, maybe if I use the PS2 controller for driving in real life. I mean, I've often thought about stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, that'd be great to drive with a game controller. But if GT is truly realistic driving, then apparently I should not be driving with a PS2 controller.
You can probably drive like a submarine though.
Well, yeah, something that moves real slow. Terry Hanzo the second says, try you should play Assetto Corsa. I don't know that.
Or is it where's Boff? I used to call it Boff.
Boff?
Yeah.
Boff 5? Boff DQ. Boff Dairy Queen. Dragon Quarter says Dragon Quarter is one of those games with protected save files. I'm grateful that Free McBoot makes that a non-issue. Does that just mean you can't copy your save to another memory card or something?
I don't know. Let me just. I did it with Free McBoot. I just gotta look it up here. I don't know what memory bank it's on.
Madonna Sheehy wants to know what's everyone's Dairy Queen order. I don't usually get like food at Dairy Queen. I usually just get a Blizzard, but sometimes I'll.
Frosty.
Huh?
You mean Frosty?
Blizzard. Frosty is Wendy's.
Oh. You're right.
I love Blizzards. Blizzards are like just about the highest form of ice cream, to be honest. I love Blizzards. I always find
not seeing my save file. I have a save file for this, but I don't have a save file for this. I'm gonna grab my stack of memory cards. Let's try it.
But you know what I always find with Blizzards is I'm always disappointed by like the branded candy Blizzards. Like if you get like an M&M's Blizzard or Snickers or Butterfinger or whatever, like you think like, oh, I like that candy bar. That sounds really good. But it's never as good as the Blizzards. They're just like a s'mores Blizzard or a brownie batter Blizzard or there was a puppy chow Blizzard, which puppy chow is just like chocolate covered like cereal and powdered sugar, not for actual puppies because it's chocolate. That was I like trying like the seasonal Blizzards. The seasonal Blizzards are always good. Like the puppy chow one was good. The s'mores is real good. Yeah, you should go see if they still have the puppy chow Blizzard. It was one of their summer flavors. It was pretty good.
The situations look kind of dire. I don't know if I.
Well, can you just
I will.
start a new game then?
Card to check. If it's not on there, like maybe I backed it up and never restored it for some reason. It should be on one of these then. No, I guess. I don't know what the deal is then. Unless because it's locked, it's not letting me do anything with it.
Frank Bohr says, is Blizzard
Sorry,
one of the most expensive ice cream in the U.S.? I don't agree with that. I think Blizzards are one of the more affordable ones. Like, like if you compare like Dairy Queen to like Brewster's ice cream, like I think you get way more quantity and a more consistent quantity at Dairy Queen compared to like an ice cream scoop type place. Like you pay more and you never know how much you're going to get. Blizzard, you always get the same amount. Like in a small Blizzard is like plenty. And I think it's pretty affordable compared to a lot of other ice cream. Like obviously not more affordable compared to like just buying ice cream at the grocery store, but like getting ice cream out, I think Dairy Queen is pretty affordable.
Oh, this is one of those games they have has like a noise filter over it.
Uh-huh.
You can kind of see it. During the.
Or I wonder if it's just like a cutscene aesthetic.
I mean, I understand that the game is pretty good, but I can understand why it didn't do very well, because I feel like for people that are into the series, it just like looks so alien.
Yeah. I mean, but now that you like really got into Returnal and stuff like that, do you think
I should
you
give it
could be
another
ready to give
shot.
this game another chance?
Yeah. So what's interesting here is I feel like compared to what I'm seeing on my CRT, like the game is like way darker. Um,
Really? That's usually the opposite problem that I have
oh,
is
really?
where well I feel like the CRT is like too dark compared to what I'm capturing on like the Retro Tank or something.
I mean, I guess like on the CRT, it looks like what you'd expect, but I like it. The digital output makes it a.
What did I think of Japanese soft serve ice cream versus Dairy Queen? I don't think I ever had soft serve ice cream over there. But
That's
what
true.
I did have, I really liked at the convenience stores. They had some good, prepackaged ice creams. Like I really liked this one that was like basically like a waffle encasing the ice cream. It was like this rectangular waffle. It was like having your cone like encasing the entire thing, and it was great.
Oh, World of Long Play. I had no idea that you were located here. No, I got
Oh,
the mod from Pixel FX. I didn't realize you were here.
I had no idea.
That's really cool.
Legendary channel that.
Yeah.
I mean that if I want to just know what some random game I hear about looks like, and I do a search on YouTube, I'm going to click the World of Long Plays video because I know that it's a no fuss,
Yeah.
no
And there's
commentary video.
just game audio.
It's just, it's
No
just going to give it to me straight.
commentating, comment. Like it's just. I had no idea.
Um. Uh. Anyway, there was a five while you were fiddling with the memory cards. There was a $5 super chat from Robert Hernandez, saying, "If anyone needed a PS2 M Card Pro, it's Corey. Thank you for the stream and happy Sunday, everyone." And that's already got it for pre-order, right? I'm pretty sure I pre-ordered it, right? Right?
Oh,
Didn't they
the
put up
PS2. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I pre-ordered it like the second it went live.
I'm pretty positive I pre-ordered it when you sent me that link.
I mean,
I
like the Memcard Pro stuff, like all of them are like instantaneous purchases for me, and like just like I ordered that, not by them, but it's like the multi, what is it, like the VMU2 or something like that. Like I backed that one on Kickstarter. I'm just gonna play something else.
I should have got that. Yeah, I mean, we're just playing this because it was asked about. Not an ideal stream game. Oh well, I guess you've convinced Dragon Quarter though, who says I already bought a gym from my PS1. Now suddenly thinking it's worth it for PS2.
Uh, it does make me a little bit sad though that I know that there's one coming for the Xbox, and I was talking to Joe. If Joe's still here, he just had the like the Project Stellar installed in his Xbox, and that also gets rid of the analog out. Like I understand for the Xbox, like people probably feel like there's less reason to like, it's okay if we get rid of the analog out, but for me, like I just feel like that's one of my favorite things about like the stuff that like Pixel FX has done is that it retains both,
Mm-hmm.
because like I want to be able to play it both ways, that I feel like without having to swap out systems.
No, Dragon Core. This mod does not get rid of analog on
Correct.
PS2.
This one has
But the future, X and Xbox version of G.E.M firmware will be, and I assume associated ribbon cable or whatever you have to buy with it is coming in the future,
okay.
and that one will have to replace the analog output.
Yeah.
But all the others, to my knowledge, I don't know about the Wii version. I'm assuming the Wii version will retain output, retain analog output. I think that's a limitation only on
okay,
Xbox.
I'll play God Hand.
Oh yeah, God Hand is pretty ridiculous. Have you ever booted it before?
Yeah, I have the PS2 Classic on the PS3 of it.
There was $10 super chat from Chris Stewart. Thank you. Saying, thanks for the stream, guys. I've heard the Tink 4K is great for capturing VHS. When can we expect Corey to upload that USA Up All Night tape?
I mean, I recorded it, and now I want to redo it. Now that like the RetroTank 5X has like that whole VHS mode, like I kind of want to redo it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play on easy just so you can see more of the game. I will play Castlevania Lament of Innocence next.
Have you ever beaten that?
What's that?
Have you ever beaten that?
No.
You should put that on your pledges one year.
I feel like this looks better like on the stream, but there's just nothing you can do about it. Like it's gonna look not amazing. Like the best interlacer, it's not gonna make a difference.
Well, and I think the issue you've got with something like this as well, you've got kind of this depth of field effect because it's a cinematic.
Yeah,
and that's not going to look, that's not going to look too great with de-interlacing either, or sharp upscaling. PS2 is a delicate system. What can you say? But I still have not tested PS2 on the RetroTank 4K. So, but the thing is, the more I feel like the more filtering that PS2 games use, the more problematic they actually are to upscale. That's just my opinion. Like at the time, it probably seemed wise.
Look at his run.
I know, like the way that this game like stays very firmly locked to your character's back
is annoying.
It's definitely a choice.
Yeah, but I mean, it was more typical, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like, actually, kind of annoys me a little bit, and I think there's a place for this, certainly I think it's okay for a lot of games to not turn the camera except when you move the stick. But like have you noticed that like it's like kind of gone, like having any sort of automatic camera movement is like kind of gone out of fashion? Like, in fact, some games actually have that as a setting in the menu nowadays, where like you actually have to, like, it's disabled by default. Like if you want like the camera to just like turn a little bit, it's like all you're doing is turning a corner or something, right? Like I think like kind of the standard has actually become like no camera following at all based on your character turning. Like I like just a little bit. Some games do work better, I'll admit. Like you having full manual control over the camera. But
sorry, just turn down Try's voice a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. I do talk really loud.
I'm seeing how loud it is.
How it is. That's just how it is.
I'm evening it out.
My volume goes up and down, and I can't control it. Yeah, but anyway, like I don't know. I think that's it's weird that like I've actually seen like people say like, oh, I hate it when games do that. Like when like the camera, like if you just turn the corner and like it doesn't stay like stuck to your back like this, but like, you know, you're turning a corner and the camera will do a small adjustment. Like it's not 100% manual. And that kind of surprised me because like I don't know, it sometimes annoys me when games just, you know, no matter where your character turns, the camera never turns on its own.
I mean, I'm fine. Like, I find that like a lot of games from like the PS2 era, like early 2000s, like the camera controls are difficult in them.
Sure.
In most of them, especially like Nintendo games that would have like inverted only camera controls, like make it really hard for me to go back and play a lot of those now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Drum and I just played through Lost Kingdoms on the Backloggery streams, and I was surprised to see that the default camera controls are actually, or in fact, I don't even think there was a setting at all. Like the camera controls were, what you would expect of a modern game. And after I finished, I briefly loaded up Lost Kingdoms 2, which has a more of like a behind the character viewpoint rather than sort of the semi-overhead viewpoint that Lost Kingdoms 1 has. And it too is, very much modern camera controls. So I was surprised.
You see the $4.99 from Beastly Panda?
I did see that. I was about to read it, saying one vote to see Corey's favorite volume of Phantasy Star from the Sega Ages 2500 collection. Is he referring to like the kind of high res version, the remade graphics?
Yeah, I can play that like a little bit later.
I would actually be quite curious to see what that would look like with like this kind of deinterlacing. I just noticed that all of a sudden you're fighting a demon and there's like spooky clouds outside. I don't know how that happened.
I'm seeing like the dodge. The dodge is like God of War. Like you can just use the right stick to dodge. All right, I will switch to Castlevania.
I saw Hattori Hanzo saying I'm weird because I always change to inverted. I was a hardcore invert guy for a long time, but the thing that eventually got me was that at the kind of mostly like the beginning of like Xbox 360, PS3, that was when aiming and turning the camera kind of became the same thing. Like it used to be, you would have a shooting game or you would have, a more adventure, action game that didn't involve so much shooting. And then you got your Uncharted's and stuff like that, and your Infamous and games like that, where when you're moving the camera, you're also constantly aiming essentially. And the psychological disconnect between what I wanted for aiming, which was non-inverted, because I'm thinking like, mouse controls. Right?
I'm going to try to force this into, see if I can do 480p.
You would never want...
would this be NTSC non-interlaced?
It'll work. I find with forcing video on this, like you're going to get a weird aspect ratio. But you can fix that with the G.E.M's controls. So it could be worth trying. I'm thinking when I'm like playing like a first-person shooter or any kind of shooter, like I'm thinking like, even though I don't typically play on computer, I am thinking in terms of mouse, right? Like you wouldn't do inverted mouse controls. So for shooting, I want non-inverted. But then for the longest time, I was like, but I want inverted horizontal and vertical for like just pointing the camera around, because like Aeromonado says there, I always change to invert controls. It makes more sense for a camera. That was what I thought for a long time. I mean, especially as a oh, you're doing Lament of Innocence. I thought you were doing Phantasy Star.
Oh, was it Curse of Darkness that he was asking for?
No, I thought Lament of Innocence.
Yeah, I messed up.
I thought you were doing Phantasy Star though. I forgot about you were going to do Castlevania. Did that not be interlaced?
I don't know if I did something.
But anyway,
I'll figure it out.
I used to think that, but then just like, playing games like Infamous and Uncharted especially, and like I got into Ratchet and Clank that generation, that was what kind of broke me, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I have to force myself to get used to non-inverted. And you did the same. Like,
Yeah.
and it really just came down to, okay, I want non-inverted for aiming, and the disconnect between, okay, I'm wandering around in this run and jump game using camera controls, and I'm also shooting, and like switching between the two on the fly so fluidly in gameplay was like not working out. So I had to get used to it, and that does admittedly, unfortunately, sometimes make it a little difficult to go back to games of this generation. So um
All right, we're gonna see if
sorry
this
about getting
works.
off on a ramble. Let me catch up on some super chats here. Because yes, I do see that there was that 199 from Joshua Helmicke saying game requests, Castlevania Lament of Innocence. Yes, thank you. Uh speaking of that, um from our Discord community, um
Am I crashing the game? Am I crashing the game?
Brock from our Discord community. He like
Crashing the
got
game.
some sort of connection to someone who was involved with like a lot of like localization of Konami games, and like apparently like backed up like all sorts of documents and stuff, and he's archived like a whole bunch of just like information that you would never even think to like back up or preserve, like localization budgets for like Castlevania Lament of Innocence and Neo Contra and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like that's kind of interesting. Like he's got these like giant folders of that stuff, and like got like motion capture video on like VHS for like Neo Contra and stuff. Some pretty neat stuff. But anyway, um, there was. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the Joshua Helmicke and went on to the Beastly Panda.
That did not work. I mean, it didn't work in that mode, but it's also very possible that it didn't work because I'm using the version of OPL that is that allows for exFAT formatted drives. I do have real
well, I
discs.
mean,
I just
I don't know. My experience with GSM doesn't work super well anyway. So.
I do have real discs. I mean, the reason I'm not using the real discs right now is I just installed a new laser in my system, and like I did the flash and everything. I flashed it like correctly. It's just that I don't think that I calibrated it perfectly. And opening FMVs in games are skipping. I guess I play this a little bit.
But there was also a 499 from John H. Thank you. Saying, got into the stream late. So why do this over just analog to the RetroTink 4K? Is it better to use direct mode and then upscale on the RetroTink 4K? That's something I'm curious about. I've been curious whether, I mean, and to be clear, Corey does not have a RetroTink 4K prototype, and I don't have a G.E.M's PS2. So we can't test them together right now.
See, it's crazy. Like maybe like what you're seeing is like it's darker and that's what it's supposed to look like, but the darkness is like stark. Like the contrast between like what I'm seeing on the CRT versus what I'm seeing on.
Is your capture card set correctly for like full range?
Yeah, I mean it should be automatically detecting. I mean it's like the AverMedia, which is pretty good at automatically detecting.
I mean, it looks like I would expect on the stream.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm looking at it on the CRT, and it, you know, like you can't even see the background there, and I can see like stuff in the background. It just like looks like so much detail is being lost. And but the thing, like to be fair, I've noticed the same thing with like when I just run it through like a scaler.
Yeah, well, I think that's normal. I mean, I think that's normal. I mean, you can reveal detail that you're not supposed to see depending on how bright you set your CRT, you know?
Yeah. See, it's so interesting. I mean, I'm looking at this right now, and you see how pink this room is because of like the pink on here, the pink flame.
Yeah.
But you can't even tell that, like on the CRT, like the flame looks like it's blue ish.
Um,
You can't even see that. I guess you can a little bit. Like it could come down to my how my TV is calibrated, also.
oh, 100%. But anyway, like, um, uh, is it better to use direct mode? I am curious about that. Like, for example, if resolution switching will happen faster if you are using a direct mode, um, to an external scaler like RetroTink 4K, versus if you send it pre-scaled to that. Would either be equally good? I don't know. Um, but obviously, yeah. I mean, you're going to get a benefit of a pure. You're going to get benefits from a pure digital signal. Is it a big enough benefit?
Mm-hmm.
Hard to say right now. Just since like I said, we can't test these things together right now, just because he has this and not the RetroTink and vice versa.
Right.
Especially though, I mean, if you're using any like CRT effects and stuff, though, like the benefit of digital is going to be less and less. Like if you're using CRT effects on your scaler, I'm not sure yet, like what kind of CRT effects, if any, I would want for PS2 games because I haven't tested them on the RetroTink yet.
It probably does.
But
I mean, you can try some of the different effects here. Oh, here we go. There's the.
I mean, it's not going to translate very well to the stream.
I know, but I wonder if I can just like even go into the gamma. Turn that on. See, I can bring it up then. And it does not affect the analog output. So,
okay.
Like looking at that, like that looks closer to what I'm seeing right here. So, for sure, like that right there, like that just saved, like that just fixed it.
I wonder though if you played
that looks like what I'm seeing on my CRT. It almost looks like there's like jail bars in this, doesn't it?
Well, it's probably dithering.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Probably dithering. It's just built into the game. Well, you should keep that dither setting. You should save your settings. And keep that same. What was it? +3 dither. Or not dither.
Yeah,
gamma,
+3. Yeah, I have it saved.
You should keep that because there was a $5 super chat from Bag of Schmidt saying, "Is there a reason 480p is so rare on PS2? Please play Klonoa 2 if you haven't. Also, no more Streamlabs donations, or am I just blind?" So I was going to say, like, play Klonoa 2. Like, well, obviously the first level is very dark, but if you have a save, like, go to, like, a bright and cheery level and see if the levels look the same with that extra gamma setting in a more bright game. I'd be very curious to know. Streamlabs donations.
I mean, they should still be working. I mean, or is there nothing written there about it?
Super chat.
I mean, maybe I accidentally removed it because it's like it's still possible. I just like I wonder if I accidentally screwed it up somehow.
Eric Fleener was asking, is John Lemon the first person in the world to connect a PS2 G.E.M to a RetroTink 4K? Maybe. He's the only person I know with both.
Yeah.
But is there a reason 480p is so rare on PS2? That's a great question. It's significantly more rare than on GameCube or Xbox, and I don't know if it's like just too much of an extra processing burden. I mean, it's typically like the more technically accomplished PS2 games that have 480p. So I don't know if that indicates like, well, those people were just
I
better.
haven't really played this, so I apologize if I'm just going around in circles. I thought I was going the right way, but
There's kind of like a hub area somewhere. There's like this is not like as quite as open as like the 2D games of the Castlevania series in this era. It's kind of a little more level based. There's like a hub where you go like different areas.
so in this game, like I feel like the motion adapted deinterlacing looks good in this one. Like
Yeah.
it does not look like it's jaggy or like struggling with it at all.
Well, it's a very crisp, clean game, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going very from art style to art style.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do real quick. I know that they didn't even fight a battle in this, but let me. I'm gonna pop in. I'm gonna play SSX3 really quick, and like this is when I saw this, I was like, oh, like it just can't be helped. But it's like a
Do you need to
weirdness
disable
about
music in SSX3?
What's that? Yeah, I'll turn it down.
Oh.
It's just like during the loading screen, it's like, oh, like that looks weird because of the motion adapted deinterlacing.
Yeah, I don't know why
SSX3 is
480p is so
amazing.
rare. I don't know if it's
Just a
it was, my guess is it was probably more painless to implement on GameCube and Xbox, because I think GameCube just has this like 480p frame buffer no matter what you do, so it was just there. There wasn't like a lot of testing you had to do it, I think. Even though a lot of games still didn't do it, but you can force it with no issues. Like it was just how the system worked. And I think there's just so many different ways that you could handle the frame buffer on PS2 in comparison. So I like the most technically accomplished games on the system. I mean, from really high end studios, are doing, widescreen 480p 60 frames
so
per second.
um,
But
let me when it's like scrolling right here, like watch like the tree is like hang on, let me just once I choose the level here, I'll do R&B. But you see the trees like moving along the. Oh, he was so quick. Oh, sorry. I guess it just didn't work well for that.
yeah, I mean, I couldn't see any obvious issue.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. This is just like an awesome game. I've said it before, but when I moved to New York, I brought my PS2, and like this is the only game that I played for like almost a year. You'd never be able to tell though by like how.
Yeah, that muscle
good I
memory's faded, huh?
Yeah, I mean that was 15 years ago, so more than that, really. Just an awesome game, though.
Himo Sabe says 480p mode on Gran Turismo 4 has lower color depth. It probably is some performance thing. Yeah, I imagine there's just more limitations, or you just you have to manage your resources more carefully. I mean, I saw some people commenting before that, the PS2 was, the weakest console of the generation, but had the best library. And, I think that's part of why PS2 is so interesting, because even though GameCube and Xbox had the better hardware, the fact that the PS2 was so popular meant that developers had to prioritize development on it, and they had to get good. They had to get good at PS2, And I feel like that, especially like PS2 exclusives, like, I mean, there's some gorgeous stuff that people pulled off on PS2. Especially on the exclusive side. just because developers really learned the system inside and out, you know?
Yeah. Man.
After this, you should play. Klonoa too.
Oh yeah, I will. I will do that. I should have done that.
But I guess this is also a bright game. I mean, would you say that that the levels feel like
Now the levels feel good? Yes.
Okay, so across the board, you would say a little boost to gamma makes it closer to how you have your CRT set.
Yes.
Which, I mean, you know, there. Who knows? That might not be to spec or to standard, but if you feel like it's giving you the level of detail of shadow detail you want without,
yeah, I mean, I feel like
anything
this is
washed out, then there's nothing wrong with that in my view.
I mean, I have like a lot of characters maxed out, but not all of them.
Is this a completed save that you've got?
Yeah. This is my this is my save.
But, right, but I mean I know it's yours, but is it complete? Do you have?
Oh,
Like,
I mean most characters. It has like several characters completely maxed out. So apparently Firebrand X has a board design in this game. Like he designed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw some people mention that.
Well, I don't know if it was like a contest or
Yeah, I have no idea.
freelance thing or
That's really cool.
I have no idea how I don't know the story behind it. Super pipe.
Yeah,
I
let's
didn't
do
go
this.
to the super pipe.
Come on. There we go.
Vittori Hanzo II wants to know if the black levels are still black with it +3. And I would imagine it should be. I mean, gamma shouldn't affect that.
Right. I mean, I think it looks good now.
It should only affect the middle in theory, as far as I know. You know, if you were to change like the RGB range, that could affect black levels. Or just like do like a brightness boost or something like that. Someone's asking if this mod lets you play with the widescreen codes on PS2 games. What do you mean by widescreen codes? Or do you just mean modes, not codes? Like, yeah, I mean, I assume that if you were playing a widescreen mode, that there's probably a preset in the menu. I would assume, like the RetroTink is say, I was testing widescreen 480p on the RetroTink 4K the other day, and you know, you could just do a quick toggle between 4:3 or 16:9. I would assume the very similar thing surely exists here, but you could definitely stretch it out. Do you know if the 1440p on this is 2560 wide or 1920 wide?
1920.
Okay, so you would not be able to do 1440p widescreen unless you had your TV stretch it out. Blarbful says there are widescreen hex edit codes. I mean, yeah. I would be distrustful of anything like that personally, just because I'm assuming the game would not be designed to accommodate that. I generally don't really like that stuff. Like if the game is not designed for, even games that have built-in widescreen modes this generation, it's I would say more often than not they don't actually compensate the assets to they don't compensate the assets to not be stretched in widescreen, or some assets might be correct and some might, like, that's why I never played Dragon Quest 8 on widescreen mode. I always
Mhm.
played it for 3 because the widescreen mode just stretched all of the HUD
Right,
assets.
yeah.
Whereas like Final Fantasy 12, some things were stretched, but they did generally look pretty good widescreen. So like I played Final Fantasy 12 widescreen.
I do feel like bumping that gamma up, and that, you know, the black level still looks good.
Well, then, you know, a lot of games this generation can be pretty dark, honestly.
Yeah. So just like the
So,
+3.
are you going to follow up on that? There was a request for Klonoa 2 and
Yeah,
also
yeah,
a
I'm doing
request
that
for
right now.
that 2500 Fantasy Star.
I'll do both of those. I'm gonna do Klonoa first though.
There's also like a request for you gotta see like a Ratchet or Jack or Sly stream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Getting on a PS2 stream.
I'll do like Jack 1. Jack 1's the only one that I've really played a bunch.
Yeah.
Um,
I learned from Kebabs, who seems extremely knowledgeable about Sony platformers. Although I'm sure this is quite common knowledge. I guess some like super critical awful glitch in Jack 2 that carries over into the HD version. And it's fixed on the greatest hits version, but not on the PS3 version. So I'm glad that I grabbed several years ago. I like, it was dirt cheap. It was like $5 maybe. If not $2.
the sound's all messed up in this one.
Oh,
Just like during that intro there, it's like dropping
oh,
signals.
doesn't this game have like this game has like some, like in limited scenes it has like some sort of like digital audio support, right?
Yeah. I could probably load my disc. John H with $1.99 asking if I did the install, and I did not. I did not do the install on this one. Pixel FX did it and sent the system over pre-modded.
Yeah, so it's a review sample.
Yeah, I mean that's something I would never do.
Yeah, it seems too complicated.
Where's level 1 here? I don't want this. I want level 1.
Well, that's a great question. Cloud FF7 was asking, is the system itself set to YPBPR mode, or is it set to RGB mode, or is that relevant to this mod?
That's honestly like something I didn't even think about. I saw that question pop up. Is this it? See it.
Oh, Alex Gavin says OPL doesn't run Klonoa 2 Pro.
Oh, okay. Well,
so there you go.
You know, it's interesting because I know that there's like some work being done like with OPL, but I was kind of hoping with the different things coming out, like between like this and like the Memcard Pro 2, that like development on OPL would be like kickstarted heavily, and there would be like a lot of stuff kind of coming out. But it seems like, you know, there's not as much action as I was hoping for. This one's like dropping signal like crazy, more so than.
Is that a normal thing for Klonoa 2 though?
Yes.
Probably, my guess is it's too extended of a drop for it to handle. But just between scenes.
Right.
I guess maybe Klonoa 2 does some quirky technical things. Yeah, I guess it's a weird one.
Yeah, the sound is like all jacked up. I just muted the sound because it's like there's like weird sounds in there. And the music going rah, 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 rah. It almost sounds like a dog barking in it.
Yeah, Kimosabi says, I'm just not a fan of OPL. Too many games with issues. And see, that's kind of what holds me back from like using it all that much. I mean, I want to trust it more, but like just the fact that it's it's just not close enough to 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, that's why like I put the new laser in. You know, like I'll use it for games that I don't have.
You know, like X Station, like I've never heard of issues on X Station with anything. Like, are there any issues with anything on X Station?
No, I mean, there's like the number of firmware updates for it have been very few and far between. I think like the last one I think was in like February or something like that, and that was like the first one in almost a year or something.
Yeah. So like I feel like I can trust that. I feel like I can trust generally trust like most like flash cards.
This one, I guess it's just like I wonder if. Let's see, maybe if I set the.
World of Long Play says he played this.
Yeah. I wonder if I set the input.
An OPL had no issues on the.
It might be because I have the minimal lag set. Let me see if I up that.
Yeah, if you try the triple buffer.
Let's see if it's better now.
Jason O'Hare says, has anyone checked out PS5 remaster of Klonoa?
No.
Is it good? Shall I avoid the Switch version? I mean, I think it's fine. I'm not like a hardcore fan of the series like Corey is, though. But from what I've played, it seems fine. Although I think in the case of Klonoa 2, there's a lot of kind of visual and artistic effects that weren't carried over all that well, like the water effect and the rain effect look a whole lot better on PS2. And the Switch version does have a lot of frame rate issues. But PS5, I have the PS5 version and it's good. I've not played through it though. I've only played like a world of the first game. You should check out the Digital Foundry video on that Corey collaborated.
Yeah.
With. Speaking of which, they released on Digital Foundry channel today the Sonic 06 Xbox 360 and PS3 Let's Play that John and I did. So people should go check that out.
I'm gonna try the disc. I'm gonna try the disc, see if that does anything.
It was pretty funny, I thought.
Just for the heck of it.
That's a funny question. Hydra Spectre's asking how do DVD movies play on the Retro G.E.M? I mean, I don't even know how like copy protection would have worked back then. So there's probably no copy protection to circumvent. I mean, I think there was maybe some copy protection over analog to some extent, but I don't know a lot about it. But like pulling a digital source of that, there's probably nothing to circumvent. Sounds like Joseph Coleman says the Sonic 06 video is devastatingly funny. I did think it was pretty funny. Like, you should just see, like, so I like died on the first level, and there's like all of this like stuff you have to do before you can even get into the first level that's going through so many load screens and crap. And I died, and like when I was
my lens calibration is going to prevent this.
I caught up, because John already finished the first level and he was waiting for me, and I caught up, and he was just like on pins and needles, just seeing if I could If I, like, he was just so scared I was going to die again, and we were just going to be stuck.
My lens calibration is preventing Klonoa from being playable.
Well, it is a CD game as well, isn't it?
Nope. It's
DVD. Is it really?
Yeah.
I could have swore it was a CD game.
Nope. I'm gonna check out the system config and see what happens here, though.
Oh, well, I mean, I assume on your PVM.
Yeah, my PVM, like I see a difference, but here it doesn't do anything.
That's cool. Well, I mean, it's interesting though that they say that because they do call it here not just YPBPR but also YCBCR, which indicates that the CBCR indicates, as far as I am aware, indicates that it is actually doing YPBPR in a digital space.
Yeah.
So even though there's no digital output, so I wonder. I mean, you don't see like a flicker or anything when you change that on the G.E.Ms, but it makes me wonder: is it just changing to digital?
No, I feel like that
well?
game specifically, like a drop signal. Like that's what it's always been. It kind of just like drops a signal. Because I remember it being an issue with like using it with the FrameMeister. And every time there was a load screen, it would drop the signal. All right, I think this is right here is the fan translation for Phantasy Star. And yes, I don't have any of the custom OPL settings per game because I don't have it hooked up through the like it's not wired into the Ethernet, which I think you can download. It'll automatically download the specific OPL settings if you want it to for each game.
World of Long Play says, actually, I think I misremembered. I think I had to play Klonoa 2 off disc instead of OPL.
Yeah, I gotta calibrate my stuff.
Yeah. 3D Ages. But is it 3D? I mean, I guess the dungeons are 3D, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they were calling it at the time.
Kay is saying maybe the G.E.M pulls the signal before it is converts to YCBCR, or yeah, I don't know whether it does it that way or there's animation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I played pretty far into this. I do feel like
I definitely see some de-interlacing artifacts on the sprites. I wonder if this can be forced.
Like, I mean, look at around the hit points there. You see the glow going over it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like there's nothing you can do about it. Like that is the nature of the resolution. Like it just that's how it is. But you see those character sprites. They look fantastic.
Right, except when like for example, when the screen went dark there at the end of battle, there was like a little jump on the characters. Just because the information changes and it doesn't quite know what to do with it.
Oh, look at that. That's probably an OPL issue right there. Those big lines going through the screen. I've never seen that in this before. Maybe wow. I hope that this XFAT version of OPL is still being like actively worked on, because I think the last version that come out was I think it was in like May.
I'm definitely seeing that this cobblestone pathway when you're walking left and right the de-interlacer doesn't love that.
No, and like it's just it's gonna happen with anything, honestly.
I wonder if it's I don't exactly know how the de-interlacer is done, but I wonder if it's possible to like store more samples, like if that's even the right term. Like, obviously it has to base stuff off of previous frames to some extent, right? And I wonder if like more samples, if there's the memory for it.
I like that there's those
potentially
bars
alleviate
are like
issues
over
like
top
that.
of it. Like that's definitely an OPL issue.
Yeah. Well, out of curiosity, bring up the gyms menu and see
Yeah,
if
see,
it's
it's just in
behind it or.
you'd see it over.
Oh
top.
well, even Meow's, and Alice
Yeah, you can see it
they're
behind it.
It's just it's like a game world rendering bug.
Yeah. No, I mean this is definitely not junk data that's like off screen.
Yeah, because it's in the middle of the screen.
I mean, you go into the menu, it's like the extension of the MP bars, the Magic Point bars.
Oh, there was a 7 minutes ago from Container 7 a $5 super chat that I missed it first. Apologize for that. Saying thanks for streaming tonight.
Let's see. I'm gonna try a PS1
Sunday night,
game.
so it is our pleasure to stream.
What would be a good PS1 game to play?
I just Spectre saying I am praying we get an SSD ODE for the PS2. Like, I mean, I think people are not motivated to make that kind of hardware for PS2 because OPL exists. But like, I do agree that it just feels like there's enough issues holding it back from being perfect. I really would like to see, ODE hardware, like for replacing the disk drive, for feeding data exactly the same way as the disk drive does. I'd like to see someone try, and I'd like to see if it does in fact run as perfectly as that X Station. Yeah, and Eric says, "Yeah, I don't love OPL. It's a pain to use even when it's working." I mean, you could get potentially a better just user experience, better experience loading up the games onto your drive and stuff like that with a full-on ODE type solution. Oh, you're trying PS1.
Yeah.
And of course, you've got 240p here, so there's nothing to deinterlace.
Right.
You should load up Eco.
Oh, okay.
Just because that's a 240p PS2 game.
Is this the one we were talking about the other day, or we were talking about it like weeks ago, like the different backstory for the robots in the Mega Man X?
Oh,
It's not this one, right?
hilarious.
Is it this one?
Yeah, it's this one. I think they're so funny.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they probably sounded a whole lot cooler in Japanese.
Yeah.
Or actually, they might be displayed in English in the Japanese version, but maybe they just thought it sounded cool. I'm going Mega Man X4 boss intros. Let's see if I can find screenshots of these, because I just think they're so. Here we go. Here we go. Like my favorite one is like here. Let me see if I can put this in my video window. I don't know. I just think they're really funny.
I'll do a Chrono Cross after this.
Come on. Why am I not?
No, X3 is the one that's also on SNES.
Okay, here we go. Downloads. Okay. Come on. I just think I just think these are so funny.
How does this compare to PS3 backwards compatibility? I mean, it's on you just like on the system in general. Like backwards compatibility is very good, but if you want to know if this is similar to what a PS1 game would look like upscaled on the PS3. I mean, it's close, but I feel like this is better because it has interpolation and
Oh, absolutely.
you know,
Oh yeah, I mean PS3 is on PS1 is or PS1 on PS3 is solid, but
yeah. I mean, you know what? It is honestly like
definitely
so
better.
good for the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Oh
it
yeah.
is like beyond anything that was like in any retro collections that were coming out
Oh
at the
yeah.
time. Like it is like it's kind of
And it holds
amazing
up.
just how good it really is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was well ahead of its time, and then Sony completely forgot how to present PS1 games.
Yeah.
Like completely forgot. Anyway, I just think it's so funny, like Magma Dragoon, he betrayed the irregular hunters and hid himself inside a volcano. Like what? Like how cool is that?
Yeah, you have no idea
Like,
what
like,
he's
like,
been through. The
like
irregular hunters, he betrayed them.
he betrayed them, and he hid himself inside a volcano.
That dick. Magma
Like-
Dragoon, you dick.
Like, I know, Sam.
That's what all the regular hunters feel about him.
I mean, I just it makes me think like I just think of this kid. I just think of like a kid just like playing this game, and that
Yeah.
like that little nugget of lore is just like setting their imagination alight.
Yes.
Like, oh man, like they're just envisioning the scene of like what happened when he betrayed the irregular hunters, and then he went and hid himself inside a volcano.
They have this huge
Like-
backstory. It's like, how do we sum this up into 8 words?
like that like some kid or like middle schooler was like sitting in science class and they're just like drawing like comics inside their notebook of like Magma Dragoon like betraying the irregular hunters and hiding himself inside a volcano. What were some of the others? There was
Well, I mean, I can select them right now.
oh. Let's. I think you posted one of like the marine one. I think it was pretty good.
Yes. Like I've always been partial to Storm Owl. Because the Storm Owl's music is so good, and Storm Owl's music is the first MP3 that I ever made. And I recorded it
Really?
from my stereo receiver into my computer, and I uploaded it to AOL. And then, yeah, that was like the first thing like when I was still on AOL. Like I recorded the Storm Owl theme and uploaded it to like, it wasn't a message board, but it was just like a file share area where you could like download stuff, and I uploaded it to there. And the thing is I totally forgot about it. And then years later, I downloaded it, and it was my file.
So you think it like got really into circulation?
Like it got into circulation to an extent, because like I couldn't like rip the discs or anything at the time, so I had to record it myself. So yeah, I've always been very partial to Storm Owl because that is the first MP3 that I ever made. What's his backstory? He left with a space fortress to conquer the air.
Whoa!
But for real, this music is...
He left with the space fortress.
Yes.
Like, I can't believe this guy.
I mean, I would go on a limb and say that outside of like the tunes in the first Mega Man X, like this is the only one that I've like truly connected with. It has that same spirit that the first of music that the first Mega Man X had. I wonder if that file's still out there somewhere. So if somebody has that, I would like lose my crap.
Well,
The
please
music.
don't.
Oh, I thought I turned it
There
up.
was a no comment super chat from Jake's now 96 for 99 cent super chat. Thank you, and also a $2 super chat from Wayne Jonezak saying, "I finally beat Returnal. It was exhilarating." It was indeed.
It was.
You know, I never died on the final biome, like the underwater biome.
That's crazy to me.
I never died there. I did it 3 times. I beat it. I beat the underwater biome 3 times.
Wait, is the game audio stuttering?
Oh, so the PS1 digital.
Yeah, sometimes it stutters like in my records.
Well, so I run. I don't know why. Like every time I stream PS1 digital on like the backlog group, people were saying, "Oh, like the audio is, you know, scratchy or something."
Interesting, because like I hear it coming out of my TV and it's fine. So it just like has to be some sort of.
It sounds fine on the TV to me as well. So what I did, I have like the PS1 digital and several other modded systems.
Yeah. Running through
A switcher, which then goes through like also the GBA consolizer. That's another one that sometimes audio recording is funny. Like it sounds fine on my TV, but audio either doesn't work or something. So I have a few modded systems going through a switcher that then goes through an HDMI audio extractor. And I don't actually extract the audio. I don't do anything.
Right, yeah, it's finessing the signal.
Running it through that extractor fixes the HDMI on the other side.
Right. So I mean, I have this going through splitter that does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be fixed. But I ran into it when I was recording footage from Jumping Flash 2 recently.
Yeah, I don't know. That just seems to, that's just what happened every time I streamed the PS1 digital on Backlogger. People complained. I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay,
I mean, it's
okay.
like it's a thing.
I eventually ran through that and it fixed it, but
it's definitely like a weird incompatibility or weird issue that happens with the PS1 digital and I guess now this.
I wonder if it's just like a very peculiar like sample rate of PS1 games or something.
I don't know. I'd be curious though.
I never had issues with like N64 digital audio recording, but just to have more console, you know, I actually do run that and a few other systems through that audio extractor.
Yeah. Does that fix it if I went into frame lock mode? I wonder.
Oh, I don't know.
But the thing it's fine if you like restart the system. So that fixed it. Or Reality Lancer is saying yes, it's fixed.
I mean,
it's just saying yes.
They're saying yes. I don't know if they're saying yes, it's fixed.
They're just saying yes.
They're just saying yes to, you know, any number of potential things that he could be saying yes.
Seems to have settled. But that's really interesting. That it like that must be some sort of weird thing with
a PS1 thing.
With PS1 stuff, yeah. Like I wonder if they're aware of that. And if there's anything that can be done.
I don't know.
Okay, what was I gonna play? I was gonna play Chrono Cross.
Oh yeah. Jason here's asking, was PS1 digital mod replaced by Retro G.E.M? Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, their plan with the Retro G.E.M is like basically to consolidate all of the Pixel FX mods. But you have to buy on top of that. You have to buy like a kit per system. So like, you know, you'll have to buy like the PS2 version or the PS1 version, the Wii version, the Xbox version, because they all have like different like flex cables and stuff like that that you need to install. So that's like an extra cost that's you know per system. depending on where you're putting it. But the idea, my understanding of the idea is that just having one single board that they manufacture for all their mods means that it's more affordable for them to manufacture because they're just making one type, and they can make more of them and have them more regularly in stock for a lower price. I believe that's the thing. Kay says, is the GBA console laser a Pixel FX mod? Not directly. It is a Woozle mod, and then Woozle later joined Pixel FX. So it has some shared heritage.
Play Driver 3.
Well, you probably have your save where you got past the.
No, that's Driver 1.
Oh.
He wants me to play DRI 3 VER. Drever.
Have you ever played Drever? Have you ever played it? I don't think I have.
I played it when it came out, and I feel like I get that one messed up with what was like the one that they came out with next? It was like Stunt Master or something like that. So yeah, I mean, we're seeing this switch in between.
Gaming Blow says, assuming money isn't an issue, who would you suggest hiring to deliver a fully modded PS2 from nothing? I have a list of good console modders, but very curious who you can pick as the GOAT. I mean, people in the chat could probably have better recommendations than
there's
we
an audio
do
drop
because
when this happens. That's it.
Huh?
Like there's a slight audio drop when it switches resolutions. Like the audio is like in there. Like that's just.
I mean, you could work around that by
weird
using
audio drop when it happens.
You could work around that by using analog audio.
Right.
You know, if you had the means to do so. But I mean, gosh, there's so many modders, and the problem is like people go in and out of like availability, and
yes.
Who has the most availability, and there's new people coming in to the scene all the time, and it's just I forget who it was, but like someone said it wasn't that long ago, they said I dropped my list of recommended installers because you can't really keep up with it. So it's tough to make a recommendation.
If he fixed this issue, then it's very possible. I've installed like the newest public or the newest stable firmware, and I did like a test to see what was the newest beta firmware, and there was something. It was like several points higher, but I just decided to go with like the main one. But I could probably install that and see if that fixes it.
Anytime that you're dealing with
Dave, I just want to say, Dave Carr, like that is like, even if the 3 didn't make money, like how could they resist that? I mean, it's incredible they could resist that. Somebody out there decided, oh, we're not going to make this game. It's just like pure. Like,
I mean, there is Driver San Francisco. I don't know if that's like the 4th or the 5th.
It doesn't matter.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I wonder
if it's not.
I don't know
what
number that one actually is.
I don't know.
Robert Hernandez says, I swear he released a video where he fixed transition processing in game and menu. I mean, it seems like visually it works almost immediately, but you were just saying there's an audio hiccup, right?
Yeah, I mean, when it switches like in and out of the menu, like there's a quick like audio drop.
I mean, I think something that's also important to remember with that is like, that could just as likely be something that's inherent to the mod as it could be related to your video chain, right? I mean, you're routing this through a switcher to a receiver to a TV and a capture card, right?
Yeah.
And each switcher and chain that you add to that, does somewhat delay how quickly like it latches on to stuff like that, latches
Mhm.
onto your, you know, resolution and signal and stuff. So, you know,
All right.
it's impossible. To,
Back to
you know,
PS2.
your setup can absolutely have an effect on how quickly something like that is going to work. Driver 5, Satan's counterattack. I'd play it.
I mean, they could get 2 more driver games out of that name just by capitalizing letters in the name. Yeah, I don't think that there was any on the PS1 digital either, but okay. So what do we want to play?
Robert Lawrence says this is one of the only channels live that I hardly ever hear the game audio on. I tried all the settings on my receiver too. I mean, you know, just sometimes our settings for the audio is just not right. You know, maybe we like set it really low for a game that was really loud and then didn't adjust it again. And
Yeah, I mean
you know,
yeah.
it's hard to guess whether your audio levels are right for the game, because like even if you wear monitoring headphones and like hear like the full mix, like sometimes it sounds like you've got plenty of game audio to you, but then on the stream it sounds different and it's not enough audio. So it's tough. It's tough.
In terms of buffering on the capture card, I had it set to auto detect, but I could force it to be on. I never really messed with that. Try that. Okay. So what am I playing here, y'all? What am I playing next?
Was asking how's this mod look on OLED TV. I mean, it looked great, and you know you could freely use like Bob deinterlacing, or I'm not sure if there's like a CRT simulate deinterlacing mode or not. But you could freely use
Which
anything
I
like
need like a 480p game. Give me a 480. Is Ratchet and Clank 480p, but it's like cropped, right?
Ratchet and Clank 2 is. I don't think the first one is, but 2 is. 2 and 3 are. You'd also always do like Soul Calibur 2 or 3.
Oh, that's right. Ico. I was going to do Ico, right?
Oh yeah. And
Ico one day.
Should do like one of the Soul Caliburs.
Oh, that's right. It is 240p.
I think there might be a triangle and square 480p.
Oh, Tekken 5 is 480p. Resident Evil 4 is 480p.
I think Jack 2 and 3 are 480p.
Oh, that's right.
But again, I'm not sure if they're like hold triangle and X or something.
Whew, look at that bloom. It's just like, jeez.
I mean, that's
yeah.
That's Fumito Ueda.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, having just been playing,
you'd almost think that he was the one who directed.
You know, it kind of made me think about how
was in charge of Wind Waker HD.
Huh?
So do you almost think that he would have been involved in Wind Waker HD?
But like, it kind of made me think how like Fumito Ueda and Yoko Taro kind of have like a somewhat similar visual aesthetic, and at least in like just their color grading, like very very washed out sort of color grading.
Yeah, which I mean I like.
I like it too. Like I wouldn't want every game to look like this, but like, you know, to be honest, like I feel like Shadow of the Colossus was like perhaps like detrimentally influential to me, like in how I like took photographs for a long time. Because like I did want to like push my exposure like just a hair higher than maybe I should have.
Yeah. I mean,
I was really into that for a long time, and like it was like definitely it was totally Shadow of the Colossus that like made me want to do that.
It's weird, like 240p, like on 3D graphics though. It just like really it looks messy. It can look messy.
I feel like this looks relatively clean though.
I mean, it does, but it's still like it's tough. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. You look at the CRT, it looks like immaculate.
Mhm.
You know, like it just.
I mean, I don't know. I think this looks solid.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction has it's 480p.
I mean, that isn't that considered a pretty good game?
Yeah, I have that one.
There was a $5 super chat from Mega X6. Thank you. Saying, loving the stream. The PS2 was such an iconic system. And I agree. I love the PS2. I love it more now than I did back in its day.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a really fun system for me.
So I'm pretty sure Ratchet and Clank has it built in. Like you can just like select it in the menu. Does Tekken 5 have it built in? Tekken 5 would be fun.
You mean, in other words, like built in the sense that you don't have to like hold square and triangle and X or whatever? A lot of games make you hold triangle and X. I think it's triangle and X. You should boot up Radiata Stories at some point.
Oh, that one's 480p, isn't it?
It's 480. It's 480p, 60 frames per second, and widescreen. Which I know you're not set up to show widescreen, but I think Radiata Stories is probably the best looking game on the system. Like just in terms of like, it's you know, it's got all the technical features. It's got 480p. It's got widescreen.
Yeah.
It's got 60 frames per second, and the art style is very, you know, has these very sort of, you know, the art style just is kind of ageless. You know, they're going for like this flat shaded, you know, kind of like almost sort of painted texture look to it. It's a very timeless art style. So you combine that with the technical prowess that I mean, Tri-Ace almost always had.
Yeah.
During that generation, you know, Tri-Ace was always, you know, one of the most accomplished on the technical side during the PS2 generation. I just think Radiata Stories is just fantastic looking game.
Oh, God of War is.
Yeah, both God of War games have 480p. Accessible in the menu.
Which one?
Both of them.
Okay. Oh, Burnout 3 is 480p and 60 FPS. I'm gonna play Burnout 3. Sorry, y'all. Like that's Sebastian with the clutch decision there with Burnout 3.
There was you know, the Xbox that I bought recently. That I'm gonna have recapped and refurbished.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has analog output because my other one has the make megahertz HDMI in it. I turned it on to check because I needed to open the disk drive to see what disk drive model I had, because I guess apparently like if you're going to refurbish it, like I guess like a
I'll play
belt
Burnout
replacement,
Revenge,
and
that's
even like a recapping of the disk drive is kind of recommended, I guess. And so I need to know what disk drive I have, and I wasn't going to turn it on because I was like, I don't want to turn this on until the clock cap is replaced. But I took a chance and turned it on and ejected it, and there was a copy of Burnout 3 in it.
So did I need to hit triangle and cross?
Oh,
for this one.
I mean, sometimes it's in the menu.
I like this one because it's all.
Well, it's got like the great motion blur and stuff. It just has this great sense of speed. There was a $10 super chat from old Eric Benoit, EV Chill 2. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
saying this looks very impressive, but I know I'll always end up hooking my PS2 up to my 1996 Trinitron.
Yeah, I mean, for
always,
better or worse,
always
like that
you
is like
say?
the best answer.
Always though. I mean, here's hoping that we'll be able to always use those CRTs.
Right.
I mean, you know, stuff like this. You know, if you are just playing for yourself, you know, especially if you are just hooking up to a CRT, yeah, it's not
turn on this audio.
100% necessary. But like, for example, you were saying the reason you like so much these mods that keep HDMI, that keep analog while adding HDMI, and you can output them simultaneously. You know, the advantage to that, you know, if you do streaming or record videos or whatever, then you've got like a pure digital signal to capture, or and while you play looking at a CRT. So there are advantages even if you yourself are enjoying looking at the CRT.
I just like looking at the.
If you're a content creator is the term is. I don't like that term. Do you hate that term, content creator?
Sometimes, you know.
It's not my favorite.
Okay, so it looks like I need to hit. So is it? I wonder if I can do this. This will work.
Henry Clark says Burnout 3 is amazing, especially on Xbox. Try play it if you haven't, even if just on 360 through backwards compatibility.
I can't turn up the audio.
I have loaded it up. I have loaded it up on something at some point. I think in Xbox actually. It's something that I intend to get at some point, like properly. I don't think I can consider a disc only copy part of my collection though. But I'm sure it's a cheap game. I'm trying to think what Burnout. I used to own 2 on GameCube. I think I don't have it anymore though. Yeah, I know like three contents to be the fan favorite. I think Paradise is the one that's like an open world, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I've decided that I like officially don't like the idea of open world racing games. Like I'm just like don't have any serious desire to even like really try anything like that at this point. Like the hub world was fun in Diddy Kong Racing back in the day, but like just like having to drive around to get to the next race thing, like that just doesn't interest me. Like I'd rather just access the next race from a menu. It's too many steps to get to the content. Like, you know, both of us tried Forza Horizon 5 on Game Pass, and we were just like, this doesn't do as much for me as I thought it might. I mean, not that like I've wanted to find more and more. I've wanted to find more and more modern racing games that I'll enjoy. And you know, I really like the relatively little bit I've played of Dirt 5, and that's why I got it. And you know, that's why I was much more interested in it compared to something like Horizon 5 or Forza Horizon 5, because I really like I like how it's just kind of to the point, and it feels right to me. Something about that kind of off-road vibe, like it gave me flashbacks to like renting Top Gear Rally on the N64, which was a game I enjoyed renting a couple of times. I really liked that. Like that was the era where I was like experimenting the most with like non-fantasy racing games. And like Burnout, I would consider a non-fantasy game, like a non-cartoony racing game, like a real car racing game. It was like, N64 was what I
Guess I should not
rented the
have gone down
most
there.
games like that. Or Motorstorm. Motorstorm seems really fun from what
Oh,
I really like. What was it? Ridge Racer 7 on PS3? Is that the PS3 one? 7, yeah.
yes.
I played that when I was booting up some PS3 games I hadn't booted before. That seems real good. Like I don't know what it is about racing games though. Like there's a lot of them that I enjoy. Like I have a hard time motivating myself to play them. I don't know why. Like the only exception is like Mario Kart. Like like just booting up Mario Kart for no reason at all. That's fun. Like other racing games, like I think I do feel intimidated.
Like, how could
by
you
them.
not like this? Look at this.
Did I ever say I don't like this? I love this. Like, also, like, can you believe how good it looks?
Yeah, it looks
Like,
pretty good.
I mean, I know the Xbox version is considered even better, but like, it looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean, Criterion was like,
they were on another level.
Back in this generation, they were tech wizards.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's interesting because I mean, I don't know when it's going to be coming out for like non-patrons, but that Road Rash video that John and I worked on together, he talked about like how Criterion, there was a point where they were trying to like do a Road Rash game, which would have been awesome. All right, we got. My volume was down enough I could barely hear the game, but it sounded like when I was hitting those cars, it sounded like there was people screaming. Which is like super messed up to think about. Like if that's what it was.
Next, I think you should play either Ratchet and Clank 2 or Jack 3.
Jack 3?
I've like barely
I've never played Jack 3.
I know almost nothing about Jack 3. I've never like I don't even know if I've ever seen like the gameplay in action, but I've booted it up and like watched like the opening cutscene, and it visually looks excellent.
Ah, get off me.
Or maybe you could boot up Jack X. I guarantee it probably has progressive scan. Like I think all Naughty Dog and Insomniac games after their first entry on the console, I think they all had 480p. Just the Jack 1 and
got him.
Ratchet 1 don't, but I think all the others do.
Whoa! I mean, this is like what I like about these ones versus even Paradise is it's just you don't have to think about going down different streets.
Yeah,
it's just nice how it's like just straightforward. That was the thing that messed me up in Paradise is that you go down you have to make big turns down different streets, which is cool. But the way it lets you know is like you have to like look at your turn signal.
And like in this, like the area you play in is designed for the race, not just for the open world, right?
Right.
So it just I don't know. I think that kind of design just makes more. I mean, I know they're probably also considering like the feel of actually racing, not just for the open world, but I don't know. I don't think that kind of design is for me. Like I've definitely looked at Burnout Paradise a few times. Like I heard that the Switch version is really good.
Yeah,
I
I mean, I
thought
played
about
it a
it, but
lot, but it like going down different. It I longed for something like straightforward like this, where it's just like you
yes,
know where to go. You just
yes.
follow the arrows and go around in big circles and stuff. Ooh.
I mean, man, looking
Nobody
at this.
shunts me and lives to talk about it.
I mean, looking at this, like I like seriously almost forget you're playing PS2 and not PS3.
Right? Yeah, I mean
Like, doesn't
it's
look like this looks like visually, like the graphics quality. I feel is like leagues above what you were playing
yeah.
earlier with Gran Turismo.
Yeah, but I mean
Like
it's
Gran Turismo is 60 frames per second, but like I didn't think it actually looked that good.
you didn't think it looked that good?
I mean, I don't think it aged as well,
Yeah.
but
All right. If I have access to a crash event, I will do one. If not, we're gonna play some Jack 3.
wow, I didn't realize it's pretty close to 11. This
Oh
stream went
jeez.
by fast.
Ooh. You got the M type ST. All right. Crash.
Robert Hernandez says,
Oh,
"Try repeat
the
after
crash
me.
is the dock fight.
Gran Turismo always looks amazing. Gran Turismo always looks amazing." I mean, I like how the PS1 ones look. It ain't my series. It ain't my series, and I didn't see
Oops.
that much of them after the PS1 games because my cousin's husband loved them, so I saw a fair bit of
Was I supposed
those
not to do that?
in
What was
their
I supposed
house. Oh, I didn't know that the
I forgot about this.
I didn't know that the emotes the your glasses emote was something people could use in here.
Oh yeah, I added that. And there's also Popeye face.
I wish we could do what we do on the Backloggery streams where we have or maybe it's possible, I don't know.
Oh, like the whole thing.
Where
Like
we
I
have like
think
the
that
emotes
might
like
be.
float across the screen.
Hopefully that's being. What am I trying to do here?
There's Popeye.
I'm doing this wrong, I guess.
No, Charizardorio says, let's try a game with screen tearing like Jack 2. I mean,
I
there's no way that's going to be fixed.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's much to see there, to be honest. I mean, there's going to be screen tearing. It's it's not like we're going to be able to tap into some like VRR that's going to like fix that somehow.
I'm gonna try Jack 3 because I've never played it.
I played a little Jack 2 back in the day, but I didn't get.
I played a little Jack 2, but I've never played Jack 3.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
I've not been hitting the gym. I should be though. I need to be less thick. I'm. It's a problem.
I mean, all I know about Jack 3 is like there's like a cutscene that plays when you boot it up. And I was like, oh, visually looks nice.
Yeah.
I like it's just so funny thinking about like the stark difference. Like, you see you and I have both played Jack 1 as like you boot up Jack 3 and it's just like, how did we get to this point? How did things end up this way? It's like so different from where we started.
Yeah.
I always just I had a hard time accepting Jack 2 because I just had a hard time with it because I was like, why does it have to be gritty? Why does Jack have to have a
This
voice
might be
now?
an OPL problem. Let me grab a disc. Let me grab the disc.
I just noticed. Is anyone else seeing this? Like, is it just me? Or is all of a sudden, like, is the stream contained within like a rounded corners rectangle? Like if you're like looking at like embedded in the YouTube page, like the corners aren't sharp. When did that happen?
What's going on?
Like on the YouTube page, like the corners of the stream, the corners of the rectangle, the 16:9 rectangle are rounded.
Oh.
I'm using Chrome. Like, could it just be like the zoom level that I'm at? No. It's like that if I zoom in and out, it's just like that. But Sebastian saying, I see the round corners on thumbnails. Yeah, you're right. The thumbnails have rounded corners too. They are ruining my artistic vision by cutting off pixels in every corner. It's fine if you're full screen though.
This is like not loading. I wonder what's going on with. We are not meant to play Jack 3, I think.
Yeah, you have to play Jack 2 first.
It won't let you load. It won't let you load the game, period, unless you've played. Unless you have a save file for Jack 2.
Yeah.
Imagine if they like pulled something like that.
Well, why don't you play Ratchet 2 instead?
Yeah. Okay.
Going Commando, I believe, is 2.
Going Commando.
There was a $10 super chat just now from Eric Fleener. Thank you. Saying, really enjoying the stream. I appreciate finally getting a nice long preview of the PS2 G.E.M in action.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Like I said, it's kind of blown by really fast for me. I had no idea it was almost.
Well, PS2 stuff's always there's always so much stuff to check out.
Just it's one of the most fascinating libraries in gaming history.
Going Commando is my favorite one. Or, I mean, out of the original PS2 ones. That's one I seem to enjoy the most.
Yeah, that probably is the best of the PS2 ones.
Can I not skip this?
I guess not.
I was going to look at the scanline stuff real quick.
I mean, it's not going to look great on stream, but
I know.
I mean, when I was playing through Lost Kingdoms, I used scan lines on via the RetroTink. It looked quite nice. Something that I'm finding though, I'm not really caring for like on the RetroTink 4K. If the game resolution is like higher than 240p, if it's higher than 480p. If the resolution's higher than 480p, Um, like scan lines look neat up close, like 720p. It looks neat, but you just can't tell from a distance. Like you have to be like
Mm,
right up at it to really see the scan lines. But also, I will say like masks, like CRT masks.
right.
Um, it doesn't do much for me in like 480p, unless like something I need to try more is like using a mask without scan lines or maybe really faint scan lines. Maybe the masks would do more for me at that size. Um, but I generally find that like I kind of prefer just using scan lines and no mask for like 480p or 360p, which might sound like a weird resolution, but with some of the downscaling I've done from like Switch, like pixel art games on Switch and stuff like that, there are some 360p games. And there again, like I don't think the mask adds that much. I think just the scan line effect is good enough. Which of course you have a lot of control over. You know, you can get the bloom and whatnot. I actually thought this was pretty funny and cool, and I guess like goes to show why some of the effects work so well. In the Retrotink Discord, Mike was saying that each each RGB channel has its like own scanline generator or something like that. Which I think he said like eats up the RAM really fast, but like that I think is part of why um the strength of the different colors, like how that is such an effective look, and also like the masks, the RGB masks and LCD overlays and stuff like that. Um Now I don't know about what it looks like to you, but like when you're doing some of these, like they just like make the screen look pink or something.
Yeah.
Some of them too, I suspect would only look good at 1440p. They
Yes.
might not even work
Yeah.
correctly at 1080p.
You can rotate them around. I never like. I mean, I just don't really mess around with the masks all that much. You know, like it's just. I
Yeah,
just haven't. You know.
you
I
really
just.
got to use like the highest resolution, I think, to get much benefit out of it because it's that kind of stuff can sort of work at 1080p, but it can be a little tough. So are you did you set 480p?
Yeah. I did not enable the widescreen mode. Although I can.
Well, but we can't see it,
Yeah.
so it doesn't
Oh,
really matter.
you'd almost think that I'd never played this game in my life.
Can you uninvert or
I fixed it. Yes, it
you can
allows
fix the
for.
controls? There was a $10 super chat from Robert Hernandez. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying many moons ago, I bought a PS2 to PS3 memory card adapter long before I even owned a PS3. Needless to say, today's stream might have inspired me to actually use it. Yar. I don't know if that yar is implying some manner of uh, piracy
Yeah.
involved in this use of the PS2 to PS3 memory card adapter. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Robert Hernandez, but that thing's like valuable now.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of is.
And that always like surprises me. Like what actually I got a kick out of it for the longest time actually. How many people I could just like completely surprised that thing even exists. Because like a
Yeah.
lot of people like like years after the PS3's generation, like, people are like, wait, what? What? That's a thing? It's not just PS2 to PS3. I mean, it's PS1 as well. I mean, I I went back to Best Buy the day after I bought my PS3 and bought it. Like I was just like it was just like a that was just like a no questions asked accessory for me. Like there
Yeah.
was just no way I was not going to have that.
It is
Right?
interesting though. Like if I wonder how things would have been different if the PS3 was like instantaneously like as successful, like from day one, and like I wonder if they would value like that generation like more now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how feasible. Uh, I don't know how feasible emulating it on PS5 would be.
But I mean, it probably would have changed like the trajectory of like everything that they did.
Right. Well, you know what's so weird is I feel like Sony has almost made this like clean break with their heritage, where they just like they aren't very interested in revisiting what made them popular on PS1 and PS2, and they're not really interested
Right.
in celebrating that era anymore. And to some extent, I guess the same with PS3. Like, I feel like Sony is only interested in the audience that they built up in the PS4 generation.
Right.
They aren't like, us old timers who, have been playing since PS1. Like, they don't really care what we like or what we're interested in. Um, you know, it remains a miracle to me that like Ratchet and Clank still exists as a series, even though they don't get made very often. But like like these kinds of
I mean, I'm
callbacks,
kind of happy though that it's as few and far between because it makes them more
yeah,
special. Because they
I,
feel
I
special now.
I agree, but like it still though goes to show you that like they're they're mostly interested in the quote unquote sad dad games. Your
Yeah.
God of Wars and your Last of Us's and all that kind of stuff, and like not the stuff that was just like really really good on PS1 and PS2. Like it seems like they aren't interested in fostering the nostalgia that people feel for early PlayStation now,
Yeah.
right? Like they were still interested in that, I think, um in PS3. They were absolutely still interested in that in PS3. And they were, I think, maybe to some extent interested in it for early PS4 as well, but especially the Jim Ryan era of Sony, like Sony's made an obvious move to distance themselves from the King Kutaragi days. And yeah, that does feel true. I mean, I don't know if it has anything to do with Ken Kutaragi himself, but um uh but like I don't know, it just I don't know, it makes me feel sad. Like it just feels like there is no celebration of where PlayStation came from anymore. And it's just like,
I mean, it seemed like for a minute that they really wanted to,
yeah. I think
and
the
then
failure the
PlayStation All
failure
Stars
of the
Battle Royale happened.
right, and the failure of the of the PS1 Mini or PlayStation Classic or whatever the heck it was called, which was not a fault of the PS1. It was a fault of a bad product with a bad lineup,
Right.
with a bad emulation. Like the physical device was great. The physical device is excellent, but and I believe the hardware inside people consider it to actually be quite quite good.
The
Like
best
actually a
one.
very
Yeah.
good device to hack.
Yeah.
But and then they don't really treat their PS1 or PS2 library on PS5 with much respect at all. They don't know how to scale and
All right. What
emulate
am I
that
playing?
stuff anymore. On PS3 they were great at it, and they were proud of their legacy at first, and that's why they had the memory card adapter and the ability to play your games off disc. Um, you know,
Yeah. All right. Is there any requests? Can't promise I'll have it. Can't promise I'll definitely play it.
Let's see.
Silent Hill 2. Okay.
I mean, that seems like a weird thing to just boot up on a whim.
Silent Hill 2?
Yeah.
Meh.
I mean, it's not something you can get much into.
It's okay. I just want to see the
Patrick's
real-time graphics,
Ridge
right?
Racer 5. I'd like to see Ridge Racer 5.
Ridge Racer 5?
Maybe you can finish with Ridge Racer 5.
Would people prefer Silent Hill 2 or 3?
I mean, everyone likes 2 more.
Can't. I hope this is the correct one. Rumble Roses. Yeah. Huh. Dark Cloudo 2. Cloudo. Ooh. It just like jumps, like drops you right in the game. It doesn't even go to a title screen.
What? How did that happen?
It did. That's what happened.
But this isn't even the beginning of the game.
I know. I must have saved the game there. It like just dropped me right into the game.
That's like what happens on PS3.
Yeah, so auto load. Set auto load at startup.
What? That's pretty next gen. Wow, is it just me or does the text look really bad in that menu? Why does it look?
I mean, this is gonna look bad, I think.
Yeah, but the text just looks especially bad. I want to say this
it looks
game...
bad on listen, it looks bad on the CRT too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what. Yeah, it's like a really bad font. You know, I think this game runs at like I want to say this game's resolution is actually square. Like I remember John talking about it's got like something like a 500 by 500 frame buffer or something like that.
563 by 480.
So maybe it's like a 563 by 563 frame buffer and it like outputs as 480i. I'm not sure.
Can I quit to the... Maybe I need to kill myself. This is like right...
This is right at the beginning, right?
I think so, yeah. Oh, am I going backwards? Am I going the wrong way?
Well, given the perspective of the camera, that would make sense. Kind of looked wrong.
Really?
Well, I mean, I think you're going the right way now, but I think you were going the wrong way.
This is more fogged than the N64. Yep.
I mean, the N64, the fog gets a bad rap.
This look like there it is.
Fog
it's like I'm out of here. Just, yeah, idea like this is. He's like, this is way too creepy. I'm running home.
The running animation is it's kind of funny actually.
I really wanted to see him like looking in the mirror. I mean, it was like crazy for the time.
Yeah.
Like that's like real time, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like him like that close up?
I think so.
I feel like it was. Sorry,
I mean, but it was cool even just in gameplay seeing the mirror reflection there. Like, games became so reliant on screen space reflections that like video games just forgot how to do mirrors eventually.
Can I hit the... There. Oh, the
Where's
Comic
the Comic
Sans sign,
Sans?
right?
Yeah.
I forgot about it. Did I just like turn around? I don't know if I did.
Didn't
I
you
was
get
like looking
that
at the chat.
not too long? Didn't you get the HD collection not too long ago on Xbox or something?
I got the PS3 version, yeah. Did I just run? Did I just? I may have
I
just
think you turned
accidentally turned
around. I
around.
think you turned around.
I was looking at the chat and I. If I like.
I mean,
This is
obviously,
like the most painful thing.
this is not the right context to be playing this
No,
game.
no. I was like, look at the chat and so like, wait, am I going the wrong way? Again? Land Shark, you'd almost think. Come on, stop it.
PS3 version got patched. 360 version never did.
But the
Isn't
360
the
version
360 version
is backwards compatible on
though?
Xbox One.
Huh?
360 version is
Yeah,
backwards
but I guess it
compatible.
was never patched.
Seems like they would have like maybe tried to fix up something.
Silent Hill 2.
He's just
James
trying to
has
get
no
the
idea
heavens
where he's
knight.
going. I mean that isn't that Silent Hill 2?
Let me just follow me. There you go. It did change to like a letterboxed box there.
That's cutscenes for you.
Yeah, no retro. We were not invited to Retro World this year, and I can understand. It seemed like they were trying to bring in some like new people.
Yeah, it can get boring if you bring the same old people every time.
Yeah. What's really interesting though, looking at the combination here, so Vox talked about like the green tint that some PS2 games have over component, and like I can totally see on that scene right there. You could see green in the like in all the white and the fog
and all the white and gray. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can. The difference here between what I'm seeing on this CRT and on the HDMI is it's different. I mean, like the CRT like has almost like a gray film over it, but it's like slightly greenish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, isn't like this fog was too complex for like next generation systems?
Yeah, well, you know, someone was saying earlier when I was talking about mirrors. Let me scroll and see if I can find it.
The what?
Well, when I was talking about mirrors, I'm trying to scroll up and see what someone said. I can't find it, but someone said something to the effect of, you know, they didn't forget how to do mirrors. It's just they became too expensive to do with modern techniques. Well, to which I would say, maybe they shouldn't be doing those techniques. I mean, I think that's what's so neat, I think, about like early PS3 when you look at games like Ridge Racer 7 and stuff like that. Like early PS3, some of those games look real clean because they weren't like trying to do like shadow maps and you know, so much like normal maps and stuff like that were, you know, like pushing tech that was like just barely workable on the system. Like when things, you know, got to be all these low res shadow maps, I think that looks so much worse than just doing, you know, PS2 style shadows on the PS3. Like I think a lot of, you know, a lot of modern graphics techniques, what becomes the norm, actually can start to look worse than the previous generation's techniques. Like, I am so sick of screen space reflections. I think, you know, once we finally get past screen space reflections being much of a common thing, I think we're going to look back and say, like, dang, why didn't we just stick with cube maps? Like, I think cube maps on the whole look better than screen space reflections because, like, screen space reflections can be more accurate. It's easier to make it the reflection track with the scene. You don't have to make, all of these custom bespoke things that are meant to be. I mean, you could do cube maps that line up with the geometry, but you have to make more of them, right? There's a lot more. There's a lot more work that goes into it. Whereas screen space reflections is like, you turn it on, right? It just works. I mean, not that I know, I'm not a developer, but it seems like it's easy to implement. But it's got so many artifacts. The artifacts look so bad to me, and I'm sick of seeing them. And
I'm gonna see if I can show like the green here.
I'm just so sick of seeing screen space reflections, and I think they're going to age worse. I mean, you look at something like, you go back and look at PS3 games. Sometimes the reflections to me look better. Are they less accurate? Technically, yes, but they don't have the artifacts, and I feel like it works. I like that.
Can I adjust the gamma? Yeah. So I got to do the gamma, boost the gamma on here too. So I guess this is a good way to kind of see the difference. So that's like the retro tank. And this will be the digital. It's a good way to do a comparison. Let me see if I can.
Oh yeah, it's a lot wider looking. Like the fog actually looks white.
Yeah. I don't have like a. I don't know what it's gonna do here.
What are my thoughts on physically based materials? I mean, I'm not as good at identifying that kind of stuff as like the digital foundry guys are always like, oh, PBR materials, blah blah blah, and I don't really know how to like just look at it and be like, ah yes, PBR materials, but like I mean, my understanding is it's kind of. It's more of like it's more of like a to me it seems as opposed to like an obvious benefit on the user end, like it seems more like a benefit of development. Like you can define these materials by saying that this is the roughness, this is the reflectiveness, stuff like that. Like it's easier to generate realistic materials with that kind of system, but on the user end it's kind of like whatever, I guess.
Okay, so this is, let me just do this. I mean,
it's darker on analog, and
yeah,
I guess
so
it's like greenish tint. Kaylee Gamer says both look foggy. I mean, just that total fail. Wait, what are we looking at?
Okay.
Oh wait, are you reversed there?
Am I reversed? Let me just make sure. The thing is like, okay, let me just.
I mean, the retro tink is component. I mean, I think that's the,
right,
the
yes,
more important
they're
distinguishing factor. I'm curious. I mean, obviously, it'd be too much work, but I'm curious. I'm curious if RGB would not have the tint.
There we go. No, I had seen a couple of things about the Mars recently, and I didn't realize it was so close. But I didn't. We also got a Twitter message from them, wondering if we wanted to look at it. And I was like,
So what is? I heard something about that. That's like an FPGA related something.
yes,
right?
it's kind of like
I know nothing
like an
about
independent
this.
successor to the Mister. Like I think it's like
Oh.
the multi arcade and retro system.
Okay.
It's like an FPGA board that is like pretty powerful, and apparently it's like, I mean, I assume it's going to be real easy to like port like Mr. Cores to it.
So wait, is Mars a community? Is the Mars the DB? What or is why am I DE10 Nano? Is Mars the DE10 Nano or is it the Mister? Like, is the Mars the board that another manufacturer is making that people are creating a project on top of, or is Mars the name of the project? Like the game project. But does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yes,
There?
it's the new Mister apparently.
Is it made by a different group?
I think it's like, yeah, it's like some people like A-Track is like one of the main people involved with it, who does like, you know, does a lot of the arcade stuff. You know, like
So
he's helping to do like the Mortal Kombat. So he like announced Mortal Kombat was, you know, like the midway cores are coming to the Mister, but it's gonna like need dual RAM, like for everything, for like to even run. I mean, it's if you go to their Twitter, like it lists some different things about it, but there's like not very much information about it. But I am, of course, like very interesting.
Yeah,
Very interested. Is this a good way to do this? Is this like a good comparison for people?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the only thing we're really getting out of it is color, obviously. Because
well, I mean, that's like the big thing.
Too
You can see
small
like
to really like determine like a difference.
But you can really see like the
in
difference
scale.
in terms of like the whites, though.
Yeah, the color is the thing that's different.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
And like just in general, like the ground feels clearer with like the raw digital color.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, the texture on the ground feels clear.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a bad game. Should I play something else like in this same format?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game. It's a bad game to play in this context. But yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. But I guess what I'm confused about is like, so like, is it based around like an existing mass-produced board like the DE10?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm sure that I have not been following super closely, but like scrolling down through like what they were saying on their Twitter makes it seem like it's gonna be real cool. Like it's got like a ton of RAM on board. Like they should have no problem doing whatever that they want to do with it, I think.
Like, I mean, could they get up to like Naomi?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the OPL menu is a great comparison as it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see like
you can definitely see just that is a more pure white balance.
But what if I go to like video and I take the
gamma back down?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Like, would they be closer with the gamma brought back down? Oops. Now,
yeah, Symphony.
To be fair, I have the gamma.
I wonder if RGB has the same green issue. I wonder too.
I have the gamma boosted +3 on the Tink. So, like, if we go like to this. So here they are, like with base settings, you know, without any kind of.
Without the boost, it doesn't feel as green on the Tink.
Right.
But like, I mean, it's just it's it's a less white feeling white balance, but that's exactly what Epos Fox was talking about, though. Like that was one that I guess that it sounded like that was the thing he was most excited about, just getting that those pure digital colors.
What's a good? Yeah, I'm just looking at what people have said. Like DOA 2,
Scott Snyder says, I hear the Mars can play PS6 in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, you do know that they're on PS9 in Japan.
Yeah,
It just came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to play Sims skateboarding. I'm sorry.
Play like Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah.
Or Ridge Racer 5.
How about Thunder Force 6? How about the Bible game?
I don't know anything about Thunder Force 6.
Wait, what did you want me to play again? I forgot.
Soul Calibur 2
Soul Calibur,
or Ridge Racer 5?
Soul Calibur.
That's a Triangle and X game. If you want to do 480p.
Oh, this is a Triangle in X?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me just go into it and I'll reset it here in a second. I just want to see the color differences. So this is like base setting.
It's not very obvious.
It's not a start
from something that has a lot of color like
enemies. Yeah. Of course, like I gotta resize the.
Battle 1. Fight.
Certain colors shift more than others.
Or the gem stuff I gotta resize here.
Tori Hanzo says Retrotink looks sharper there. I mean, this is very kind of hastily done. I would not take what we're doing here. Don't compare sharpness. This is not scientific at all. Don't compare sharpness. These are different capture cards. Kind of just hastily done. The main thing we're looking at is
like color.
In fact, you might even want to label the Retrotink as just component, because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the difference in color.
Yeah, but still. You would assume that that's what it is. I mean, I can write component.
Okay, says the word close is definitely flickering more on the Retro Gem. I mean, that's something that I noticed on the PS1 digital. I haven't tried 480 I on it in a while, but I did feel like the motion adaptive technique on the PS1 digital, I don't know how to describe it. Seemed a little harsher or harder or something like that compared to the Retrotink motion adaptive VRLC. They feel like similar or related techniques, but I just wasn't sure if I was perceiving it that way because of a different implementation, or if I was perceiving it that way because it's like that's just how it is with a pure digital source. It's just that it's clearer, which kind of makes the interlacing look a little harder. I don't.
I should try Contra Shattered Soldier so we can see like do a face off with the motion.
Oh yeah. Replicate says your gym side is still gamma.
What's that?
Your gym side is still gamma increased.
Battle 1. Fight.
It shouldn't be.
I mean, they look similar on the gamma to me, but I thought I saw you go back in it.
Yeah, I mean, I changed it and saved it.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it's off. Yeah, they should be off. Yeah. Should I go for the Contra?
Sure.
How are we doing on time? The Contra will be a good one to ride out
Oh,
on.
geez, it's 11:30. I had no idea.
Contra will be a good one to ride it out on, because I mean we're gonna see like the.
But yeah,
interlacing.
the motion adaptive methods are different, but that's why I'm so interested in trying like the pass through mode with the Tink or the Morph or whatever, because that pure digital 480i, you could de-interlace it externally, and you wouldn't even need the quote unquote shiny edition for that anyway. Johnacom says, got a Tink 5X Pro after watching your video. Impressed so far. Any source on a list of recommended settings for each console for lowest lag? Also seems cables are the key to quality. Suggested cables. I mean, HD Retrovision if you want to go component, or SCART cables are, great if you want to go RGB, but you don't want to get.
You can see the green
SCART
right
cable.
there, the difference in the green.
Yeah, you definitely can, because it's the silver.
I mean, that like Epos Box mentioned the green tint, so I assume it's something like a constant, like a typical thing.
Yeah, it's something I never really thought about, but he did a good job of highlighting it. Yeah, Eric says Insurrection Industries. That's probably the most accessible SCART cables that are good. You'll want to, my rule of thumb is like, you don't want to buy any SCART cables that are cheaper than, I think the Insurrection ones are like, what are they, $25 or $30 maybe? I forget. Like, you don't like that. They are the lowest cost SCART cables that are good. So the Insurrection Industries ones definitely recommend. Your character dying is definitely going to wreck both of you. This is just like you showed with your Gradius ship. There's like no way. And it might be too small to really even see it on the screen.
I mean, it's. Sorry, y'all. I just have to get a CRT. If you don't have one.
But yeah, cable's definitely the key to quality. I don't know if Firebrand X has settings out there for the RetroTink 5X, because I always just use generic 4.3 on the RetroTink, honestly, because I think it's just consistently good. But there might be some Firebrand X optimized stuff for the 5X. To be honest, I'm not even sure, like, because I've never really delved into that stuff so much on the 5X.
So
like,
the 3,
if you have
like what, like the gamma adjust on the G.E.M feels like +1 is equal to +3 on the Tink.
Interesting. No, Bagger Schmidt says game is loud. See, that's why game audio is always an issue, because games vary in loudness a lot.
Yeah, I can turn that way down. All right, so I'm just gonna. I want them to be like similar in terms of like brightness.
Yeah, I never played around with like seeing if you can further tweak the
Like
optimized settings on the Tink 5X.
+3 on here.
So I forget if Firebrand really got it into that, but yeah, look up Firebrand X, because he's definitely the settings guy.
That looks a little bit better.
But I forget if he did much with the 5X or not. He's definitely done a lot of stuff with the FrameMeister and the OSSC.
I'm gonna let myself die. I'm looking to see the.
Are we planning to do another video on the RetroTink 5X? It's changed a lot over the years. I mean, not specifically, but we show new features and videos where it's relevant. mean, I'm going to be acknowledging that in the the RetroTink 4K preview video. I'm going to say our original video, a lot of it's still relevant, but so much has changed as well. Yeah, when you look at like the backgrounds here, like that pure digital color is nice. I ain't gonna lie. That pure digital color is nice.
This game is like it's so hard, but it's just all memorization, right?
Oh yeah, this game is totally memorization.
Which I think, like other Contra games are not complete memorization like this one.
I mean, this is probably
you'd be a better judge of that
easily
than
the
me.
most intense Contra game I've played, but I would argue that memorization is key to any of them. But this is the most intense one, so you really have to rely on memorization, especially. Johnnycom said, "Thanks, Try. I'm really impressed with the 5X Pro from someone obsessed with having low input latency. I can't believe I can play my favorite Mega Man 2 with no skill issues caused by lag." Well, I mean that's a good way to measure it. I mean that's always why, like, I've always felt the RetroTink 2X was such an important product, because even though now Mike is making like these much more high end devices, the 5X and the 4K and stuff, but he started off
right here.
making...
You can see the green. You can see the
yeah.
I guess a great place to show it off, honestly, and then I died immediately, of course.
But yeah, like, Mike, I think, made a really important product with the RetroTink 2X, because, even though it wasn't like cheap, it was the most affordable scaler of that kind that would actually be able to get you the lowest latency possible on a modern screen and good quality for games. Like, even if you're just using composite cables, which on an NES, that's all you can use unless you mod your console, of course. But even if you're just using composite cables, it looks a whole lot better than what composite looks like plugged directly into a HD TV. So I thought it was a really important product. And it was, and I guess still is. I'm not sure what the stock situation is on those, or if they're still being manufactured, but I thought it was just a really important product that made low latency use of original consoles possible at an affordable price. I know he discontinued the RetroTink Mini, but I love that thing too, because that's just composite NES video, and it's like, that was always my go-to recommendation for people who are just like, I want to like stream my N64, and it's like, well, just get a RetroTink Mini.
It's funny because the people who moved into my mom's house when I was like visiting there and checking it out, like, the guy was like showing like the old video game systems that he had.
Yeah.
And there's like, they were like in a thing in the basement, and he's like, yeah, I like to hook these up. I'm like, well, I can send you something to like hook it up. And I was going to send him the RetroTink Mini that I have.
Oh.
Just like as
I actually didn't know you had one.
Yeah, I mean, just as a way to, like, if he wants to play this stuff, there's a good option for you, Yeah,
I mean, because that's just such a good option for people. But I understand why Mike discontinued it, because he said the proportion of like the of sales to support requests for the Mini was just like unjustifiable, because like it it was a relatively small part of the sales, but like by far the most support requests.
Yeah. I'm
Because
using official Sony component cables.
Yeah. But yeah, it was because I mean, I get it. I mean, the audience that's buying that is not the audience that's, you know, doing mods and RGB cables and stuff. So it's, it's people that maybe understand the tech a little less. But I think it's such a practical product and very easy to use. So in some ways, it's surprising me that he had got so many support questions. I'm surprised. I mean, you must be playing on easy with a bunch of lives or something.
Yeah, I think I had like a save file.
Oh, okay.
Gotten from someplace for some reason.
Yeah, I mean this
like,
game.
Oh, that is like, man, that is like, that's super creepy.
Well, I mean it's a good twist on your expectations, since it's a Contra 3 boss.
Yeah. It makes me hungry for some like hamburger or something. Some fresh meat. Right.
The 4K isn't replacing the 5X because I mean it's a different product, pizza. Different price point.
It does look like a pepperoni pizza, doesn't it? Oh, jeez.
I mean,
those
yeah, I guess he could be, he could be Pizza the Hutt's brother.
Pizza the Hut. Well,
I think that'll do it.
I think that's gonna do it for this week. The Retrode looks more bloody without the green filter. You see it with the flicker on the boss. Yeah, so, I mean, let us know what you think. I mean, it's such an interesting situation because it's going to be... I think initially, like, I was really excited about this, and then you kind of come to the realization that, it's really, really hard to make 480i look really, really good, like deinterlaced, like in a good way, I guess.
Yeah, I'll spend some time this week testing PS2 on the Retrode 4K because I think the key is really going to be on scalar settings and masks, and I want to see like, is there something I could do to, and that might be something that you could translate to settings on the Retro G.E.M as well, because it has mask capabilities and stuff like that as well. Maybe if you do 1440p output, you could possibly, get something that would work with a mask. But yeah, I want to test that because I haven't totally given up hope on being able to get 480i looking sort of recapturing that CRT feel with it, but I just need to put the time into testing it on the 4K because I don't know.
I had forgotten that this had like. I hate it when they like take hero characters from like several previous games and like, oh, we're gonna make him the villain. Like it's like the big twist.
Lance is the bad guy.
Yeah, Lance is like the villain in this, and it's dumb. It's like that's like as dumb as Super Joe becoming evil and.
Oh, it's not as dumb, but
I mean they are pretty side by side in terms of dumbness.
Well, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I think Lance is a more iconic character than Super Joe, but at the same time, like because
they're both bad ideas.
They're both bad ideas, but because because Super Joe is like the most unbelievable jerk Like he's just mean.
Yeah.
Like that makes it worse.
Yes.
Like he's just a terrible, not nice person in Bionic Commando PS3 360.
Yeah. He's a real dick. In that.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, so is Rad Spencer.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
like that game has like
The most unlikable characters, period.
Like in any
like everyone's an
media.
asshole in that game.
Like yes, there is no one in that game who is like a character that you would like.
Yes, they're all they're all irredeemable.
Yes. It's like this is the worst characters ever.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, I think it's a pretty decent game though.
Yeah, just imagine like living their life though. Like after the events of the game, be like, ugh. Like, what's he gonna do now? Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you to everybody who donated tonight. I hope you enjoyed the demo and comparison here at the end. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I'm going to be working on the setup tour video. If it's not out this week, like it should be at the very latest. I think like I'm going to say like a week from tomorrow, if that's the way it works out.
Okay, and I'll be working on the Retro
like,
Team
probably like after
4K preview.
Labor Day, after Labor Day weekend. You know, I want to get it finished before then, but maybe I'll release it on Labor Day.
We've got some other ideas for things that we'll be doing soon.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff. Things are
heating up again.
Yeah, let's just like not say it, because I think that we've said it 17 times in like 2 years probably. Anyways, I hope everyone has a great night. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Good night.